56, 96.1, and 87.7 on social media.
The Vargas family, legendary Memphis restaurateur, starting with Mr. Charlie and continuing today with his grandchildren.
Brett, it just dawned on me the other day that while Memphis is celebrating its bicentennial, the Rendezvous has been here well over one-third of Memphis's existence. But we're not a place to rest on our laurels or reputation. We're always trying to add new things to make our customers' experience more enjoyable. Friday lunches have always been special because we give away our red beans and rice. But we are now adding a sausage sandwich.
John, we first got a taste of it at the golf tournament.
It's the same sausage we serve on our cheese and sausage plate, but it will be served lengthwise on the bun with beans and slaw on the side. We've also partnered with a company called Devillet out of Dyersburg to introduce a new sweet glazed mustard with Rendezvous seasoning in it. It will really go great with a sandwich. I still recommend adding slaw. As I've mentioned before, my grandfather had a hot dog stand on Beale Street in 1916, and that's the same slaw he used. So here we are now 103 years later, and we've come full circle using his slaw on our hot dogs. Hope to see you this Friday at the Rendezvous.
In the alley in downtown Memphis.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
Welcome in on this Monday, middle of February. Some of us got the blues, understandably. Reality kind of hit you in the face this week, and we'll talk Memphis basketball. We will talk a lot of stuff today. We got medals coming your way at 3:30. David Cobb, now with CBS Sports, who does a lot with college basketball. We'll chat with him. The USA Today bracketologist is Shelby Mast, and he joins us every Monday now in this time slot. Wayne Norman, who is the analyst, I want to say
40 years.
It's 40 years, but wait, it's even better. He works for this little station in a town near Stores, okay? It's WILI. So close to WOLO. Not quite there, but almost as good. WILI.
Willie.
Yeah. 50 years, I believe. We'll ask him. Do you know that when he first got in the business, he was the analyst to Marty Glickman? Now, I do want to ask this. Drew, have you ever heard?
It's going to hurt your feelings. Don't do it.
Of Marty Glickman?
Don't do it, Dave.
No, I haven't.
So you just did it.
God. You ever heard the term swish?
Yes, I have.
Marty Glickman invented that. Marty Glickman did the
voice
Knicks.
of the Marty Glickman?
Knicks.
I told you were going to disappoint.
Giants. Hold on.
Yeah, no idea. Never
What,
heard
Marty
of him.
Glickman
Hold on.
an Olympian?
Marty Glickman, this is a true story now. Marty Glickman was one of the 4 fastest sprinters in the United States and was on the U.S. Olympic team in the 1936 Berlin Olympics. Marty Glickman also happens to be Jewish. Avery Brundage was the head of the U.S. Olympic delegation. And Avery Brundage, it turned out, was an anti-Semite. And they banned Marty and I want to say another member of that team. They wouldn't sit down
Jesse Owens,
but they were going to try. Couldn't do that. But Marty had earned that right to be on that team, and they took him off. He would have gotten a gold medal, and he never got to do that. And then he came back, and he was a great athlete on a lot of different sports, great football player too, and got into broadcasting and became the number one broadcaster in New York, did network stuff. But he's the guy, a lot of Marv Albert, even Bob Costas, a lot of these terms, especially on radio, which are really beautiful descriptions in 2 or 3 words, were invented by Marty Glickman.
Lindsey Nelson, Red Barber, many paid a lot of homage to him. Those 36 Olympics, Hitler at a lot of the games presided over opening and closing ceremonies. Of course, 1936, probably at that time only Winston Churchill, the only person in the world warning of this is a madman, and we're going to have to deal with him. And Churchill really by himself was the only one that dealt with him as as Neville Chamberlain was saying, he was no threat in signing non-aggression pacts with him. But Jesse Owens, the star of that Olympics, and just how I'm getting ready to joke now that it was terrible how bad we had it then with one of the probably the most evil person that ever walked the face of planet Earth. But Drew, the 1936 Olympics, how bad did we have it then? You always talk about we had it so messed up. Played outdoors. Olympic basketball played outdoors. What could go wrong there?
But by
Really,
the way,
we're just making it up as you went.
by all the movie depictions and things I've ever read, toward the end of those games, Hitler did not come when Jesse Owens was running. He stood him up because he knew he couldn't beat him. Originally, the premise was the superior race. They were going to win everything in these Olympic Games.
Aryan race.
And
Jesse Owens dusted them all.
And he was killing them, and he couldn't. He could not take it. But anyway, Wayne Norman worked with Marty Glickman, and then you just surprised me with good news. Our good friend Carter Blackburn from CBS Sports. He will join us at 5:30. So we are incredibly.
Did you like the idea I had for Carter in the phone? Did you check it out?
Oh, the picture? Yeah, I saw
The
it.
picture.
I like it.
One of the most ubiquitous logos in corporate world ever. You see
Kind of scared me for a second because it was just staring at me.
Oh, that is good. You put that up there?
Yeah. The
Oh,
eye.
I didn't know you were that creative.
Oh,
Where did you find the eye to do that?
I got lucky. Just bounded around over the old internet, Dave. The CBS logo.
Like I told you before the show, there's a lot of good things on the internet. They got some answers.
And I noticed yesterday, I think a lighter shade of blue and a different shade of the eye on Nick Faldo and Jim Nance's official CBS Blazers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Where'd you get the blazer? Oh, the network gave it to me. One of the great lines
You know
from Fast
what?
Time at Ridgemont High.
I did notice, though, there were a couple of Blazers missing.
Who's missing?
Peter Costas.
Well, they didn't wear them out on the course.
I know.
Only the guys.
My only. Well, there was time that there were plenty of times that funny guy
Gary McCord.
Yeah, Gary McCord. He was on 16 or 17. He would wear a blazer. Yeah.
Does Vern on 16 at Augusta? Do they ever show him, or do we just hear him chuckling?
Wow, I don't know. That's a good
Do
question.
we ever see Vern? Is Vern really? Vern is there, and he told me he's having trouble getting up that ladder now at 16.
Oh,
I bet he is.
Is he still doing 16?
That's it.
He's still getting to do that, huh? That's great.
He's going to do a couple NCAA tournament games.
I'm so he is.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic! I didn't realize he was getting anything left.
But doesn't want to do anything. He's had
had
enough.
Career. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
We should get Vern on. I love talking.
Love Vern. That's Steamboat. That's Wolo, bingo. You can mark every number off.
Well, you're right. He came after me at Steamboat.
You blazed the trail.
I did. But when I was the 1 year I worked for KRLD, because he worked at that station before me.
Voice of the Cowboys.
Although Frank Lieber's the guy that I replaced. But Vern was really kind to me and helped me out a lot. I think the world of
one of the nicest people ever.
He is.
Frank Lieber was a great announcer and passed suddenly and very young.
You know,
his son was a good wide receiver at SMU Mitch.
Yeah. Oh, he sure was. Frank was one of those guys who was, and I think this did him in. He died at a very young age after he just signed an unbelievable deal with the network.
Dang.
You know, that same thing happened, seriously, to the father of a very nice gentleman that listens to this show. Same thing. That is Larry Ennis's father.
Oh, yeah.
If you would have walked into the old Summit where the Rockets played, and now it's the Toyota Center there, but before that, the building was the Summit, which is now Joel Osteen's church. You would walk in.
Mega church, some call it.
You would walk into the press room. I'll never forget this because I really wasn't prepared. I walk into the press room and there's a huge wall, which is about as big, the room and the wall, as big as the space is for our studio and the production area where Drew is. And it's a pretty good-sized room. And that whole wall was a picture of Larry Ennis's father. I think it's Bill Ennis was his name.
Is that right?
Yeah. And I looked at it and I go, wow. And it looked exactly like Larry Ennis at that time with about 25 more pounds. And, now Larry looks just like his dad did. You see him on the car commercials. You see
I remember when Larry ran the Pyramid.
Larry was part of that. He sure was.
When I first got started, this 92, 93.
Don't you remember? It was the weekend anchor at Channel 3.
Sure do.
Yeah. He was in the business.
I love Larry.
His brother is still in the business.
I don't know that Larry would know me from a jar of Vic Sab, but I always liked him a lot.
I know he listens to you because he listens to this show.
I like Larry a lot. He was very nice to me back at the Pyramid in the Pyramid days. Do you remember it was the doubleheader for the Black Coaches Association, Arkansas and Georgetown in one game, USC and Temple in the second game. And, all the credentials went through Larry because it didn't go through any school.
Right.
He helped me out a ton on that, was so very kind during that. And that was Allen Iverson's kind of college debut for Georgetown against Arkansas that day. And you didn't know whether he was going to come down and wow you or throw it in the ninth row.
In that time, at that point, right, because it's the beginning, and we just heard this kid was an incredible athlete, and the stories of what was happening in Virginia, and all about his recruitment, and because he could have been a football player.
He was something.
The kid was unbelievable. And
John Morant reminds me a lot of him. That's if somebody compare Ja to someone that's who I go to is
really
AI, the young precocious AI.
I don't know that he is as strong or as good an outside shooter as Allen Iverson. I think he's got a better concept of team. I think he's a better passer, probably a better defender.
Man, I love this texter's idea on the day. Brett, and I'm going to read it in his voice. Brett, even though she had nothing to do with that scene in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, thanks for giving me a reason for thinking about Phoebe Cates on this dreary day. Well, thank you. You're right. That's the glass half full guy out there. I was thinking about Spicoli, and you're thinking about Phoebe Cates.
Phoebe Cates is married to the same guy, right?
Larry
great
Ennis,
actor.
Cool on the Pike commercials. You're right.
Yeah. Kevin
Bacon?
No. He's married to Kyra Sedgwick. Is that her name?
I don't know.
That's right. Yeah. No. The guy was in The Big Chill. He was
Kevin Kline.
Kevin Kline.
I love The Big Chill. Love Kevin Kline.
Kevin Kline and I think Phoebe Cates have been married for 30 years.
Almost could classify The Big Chill second or third favorite movie of mine of all time.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's high up in mine too. Music in that thing is just terrific.
Soundtrack was great, wasn't it?
Every actor was so good in the role.
What was their school? What were they?
Michigan.
Michigan. Wolverines.
Come on. You think you're going to get me on that one?
Now, Dave, sometimes you can be easily got.
I can. Not today. Not on
today.
That one.
You got the thinking cap on today.
I guess so.
How does that affect your toupee? Having that thinking cap on. Pressure around real radio announcer headphones.
No, seriously, I can understand people who are watching us on Facebook or Twitter. We have cameras all over this place now.
We really do. Let's wave it all over.
And, I can understand why you would actually get people to try to believe that because it is so good looking.
I got the question one time. And
my hair is good.
It is great.
Thank you, Dad. It would not be on my mother's side because my mother's brother was bald. More bald than you.
Why does the mom's side always get the blame?
It's always the maternal side. That's supposed to be.
Is that it?
Yeah.
What if
baldness comes from your mother's side?
What if both sides are?
You always look at the mother's brother.
My mother's brother had one of them had great hair.
What about the other one?
Okay hair.
You got the raw end of the deal.
Sure did, didn't I? I can remember when this scar right here. You see that scar?
I do. It was covered?
Man, it was way back there at one time.
That's tough.
I had Bama bangs almost over it.
It is time for us to get down to business, that is for sure, and we always do that with Top and Not Top Story. Coming your way in a minute.
We'll get there after I tell you about this hour, brought to you by Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering the golden opportunity post-Valentine's sales event for your honey, for your loved one. Buy them, he or she, a car. Great offers on all 2020 models and always special lease options. If you've ever thought I'd look great in a Lexus, well, guess what? Lexus of Memphis thinks you would look outstanding in a Lexus as well. Driving luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving great. Lexus of Memphis, the highest standards in the industry. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design that makes for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Before we get to top and knot, I got to finish the thought about Frank Lieber, who passed away right after he got his big deal. I was thinking the same thing about Bill Ennis. So Ennis signs this brand new deal, and I mean it puts him in a new whole stratosphere with NBC. He's going to be the number one guy and goes to sleep like the day or two after he signs the deal and passes away in sleep. And you know who got the gig?
Byron Day.
Dick Enberg.
Okay. So
before
years
Byron
before
Day. Yeah. Byron Day and Bob Costas came up to
Byron was Memphis guy.
Yeah.
Channel 13 guy, wasn't
Channel 13. He sure was. He had just left when he came in.
I didn't know Larry's dad had gotten that big showbiz break.
No, he was the guy. He was going to be the guy, and he passed away, and Dick Enberg became.
Larry, if you're listening, I have always really admired you and how I love how when he wants to prove on Saturday morning, yeah, we're live. And they are.
Oh, yeah. He's had that gig for a long, long time. He's very good at what he does.
Top story of the day.
Well, it's the Tigers, and
it sure
this
is.
was pointed out to me by Precious Achua himself. The Tigers have lost 8 games. How many of those games do you think the Tigers had the lead with 7 minutes to go in the game?
Every one of them. Except for Tulsa.
But one.
The 40 points.
7 of those games, the Tigers had the lead. And he says they got to learn to finish games, and there is no doubt about that. You can't have minus 7 points in second chance points because you can't box out. You can't have 16 turnovers and minus 6 points in points off turnovers. Those two categories, minus 13 in a 3-point game, not to mention missed front ends of 1-and-1s, which happens on a regular basis. Those three things have spelled the difference between a good seed in the NCAA tournament, walking through the doors feeling really good about yourselves, to now checking out NIT bracketology. Those three categories are really the difference this year. Getting killed on the boards down the stretch, especially second chance points, turnovers that kill you at critical times, missed important free throws down the stretch. And that's why this team is, unless they win the tournament, which they could, because the league's not that good.
The league's not even good at all, but they're not going to win the tournament. But they could.
If they did, it's on a neutral. There's not a team that, well, we'll see about Houston, because I do think they're the best of the lot. But there's not a team that I've seen. I shouldn't say that about Tulsa, but I will.
I'm looking forward to seeing Houston Saturday in person.
Memphis cannot beat on a neutral floor.
I think Memphis and the Razorbacks have had pretty mirror image season.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because there was some talk amongst us insiders about either a trip to Fayetteville or a trip from Arkansas to FedEx Forum later this year if things don't work out well for both those teams.
They don't match that up as much as they used to because they do a strict seeding. But used to, they would kind of have headhunter games like that. Arkansas, 9 total losses, 8 losses by 7 points or less, 5 losses by 4 points or less, 3 overtime losses, and a key player off the team, just like the Tigers have had with injury and otherwise. My top story, Tigers lose again narrowly. Can play the ifs and the maybes and the almost all you want, but 5-6 in this calendar year of 2020 against a weak schedule. 5-7 against a weak schedule in this calendar year. 2 guarantees left. ECU on Wednesday and at Tulane on Leap Day. At least 3 more losses. Now, through 61 games as head coach of the Tigers, Coach Hardaway's 39-22. 39-22 through 61. Tubby Smith was 37-24 through 61 games.
This team is definitely more interesting to watch. It has more talent, and it certainly has a lot more people watching it.
I think it's the best Tiger
in the
team.
Tubby Smith era.
I think it's the best Tiger team since the team that beat George Washington in the tournament, the last time they went to the NCAA tournament.
Is that a Josh team?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that team had the Four Kings. Oh, that team had to start with until there was transferring. Those Josh teams were top 5 in the country in recruiting. So yeah, that stands to reason. But when you go and you play at Cincinnati in a game you probably should have won, right? And that place is a sellout. And then you go to UConn, and that team is not drawn well at all. And at the XL Center, they have the first sellout in 2 years.
Yeah, but those games aren't the problem. The games that are a problem are the home games against Georgia, SMU, and South Florida.
Those are the games you lost. Yeah. No, I get that. I'm just saying to you, as a guy who goes to every game and watches and senses atmosphere and importance, this year, or these last 2 years compared to the 2 years with Tubby, it's not close, Brett. It's just not close.
But in the record, it is.
In the record,
that's what we play for.
It's still a couple of games ahead. Tubby never went to postseason. Penny has gone to postseason, and hopefully he goes to postseason again. Yeah. Hopefully it's still the NCAA.
Unlike politics, where everybody wins the Iowa primary and everybody wins the New Hampshire primary, in sports we got a really critical factor: scoreboard and record book.
Scoreboard. What was it? It's 39-22 as opposed to
37-24.
And 24.
2 games.
2 games better.
Not top story of the day.
Baseball and its mess. And Rob Manfred
worst weekend ever
is not able to straighten this out. To some extent, I get it. He can't promote throwing at the Houston Astros. Somebody's got to protect these guys.
Yeah, it can't be the Wild West either.
It can't be. But it is a difficult concept to think, wait, we're going to punish you for throwing at the cheaters who didn't get punished at all. He's put himself in a bad place that way. Here's the worst part about it, Stats. This was pointed out to me by a baseball guy who will be a part of the show, as he always is, Tim Doolin. If we go back to the steroid era, which was cheating, did you ever hear one player rat out another player?
Nope.
Criticize another player?
Well, except for Canseco.
Canseco wrote the book after he was out of baseball.
Yeah. But everybody else stood solidarity.
Stood in solidarity. Everybody on all these other teams, with the exception of the Astros themselves, is pointing the finger at the Astros.
Red Sox are going to get it in this week.
They deserve to be taken to task. They don't deserve their trophy. They don't deserve the championship. They really cheated. And the way these people are coming out, it makes you absolutely know that not everybody was doing it.
My not top story, same thing. With every statement, every passing hour, it just gets worse for baseball. The commissioner of baseball that awards the commissioner's trophy as the champion of baseball every year, this weekend said it was just a piece of metal. Inanimate object.
I know.
I mean,
and it's named after his office, the irony to that.
And Rob Manfred, they're now
makes you miss Bud Selig, doesn't it?
Almost makes me miss Bowie Kuhn. Serious calls for stripping and or vacating of the 27 World Series. Serious threats of retaliation. It sounds like people really want a piece of Big Mouth Bregman. I can't blame him. He was just so cocky out there for years. And Altuve. That's the two that – there's not a lot of ire at Correa or the kind of the bigger boppers, but Bregman and Altuve seem to be the centerpiece of a lot of the scorn. And we can't just have wanton throwing at every night, can we?
Well, there seems to be no. You cannot do that. You have to put the brakes on that because somebody could end up getting really hurt and losing a career. And so no, you can't have, as you said perfectly, the Wild Wild West. But the commissioner has not done a good job at handling this at all. And then even on the Today Show this morning, a piece by Harry Smith, who always does Americana.
Mr. Roker didn't do it?
No. And Harry did a piece on the Lowell, Massachusetts minor league team that's been around since literally the late 1800s. And how there is this contraction of minor leagues. We've talked about it. It could
decimation.
It could affect even at the highest level. Memphis isn't going to lose a minor league
we're going to have something.
Team.
I don't know what form.
But it might not be the Cardinals, and it might not be AAA. We don't really know what actually is all going to fall. But here's a city that is all about baseball, has been for years, and it's going to lose its franchise. And he basically comes out in this piece and says it all began when minor league baseballs wanted at least a fair living price. Because if you're talking about even AA baseball players, they don't make enough to live on. So they wanted more money. And the baseball response, Rob Manfred's response is, okay, we're going to cut baseball's minor leagues in half. And that's what they're in the midst of doing. It is not a good look for Manfred. It is not a good look this week at all for baseball. When spring has always been hope eternal, it is not that picture this spring training.
Should Manfred resign?
I think he's on the verge of getting close to have to.
If he does, who's the
you've got
immediate replacement?
I don't know. I don't know. But I do know. I do know that you can't have all these players coming out speaking ill of the commissioner.
And you know who should be too. And he went in the Hall of Fame either last summer or summer before last. It's time. Somebody that really loves it and will throw himself in front of a locomotive for it. Bob Costas.
I was thinking you were thinking Bob Costas.
It's time. Somebody that's got that heft.
He's a smart guy. He's absolutely a smart guy. And
he loves it.
He understands all that's his. Look, he quit being an NBC announcer because he wanted to just do baseball. There's no doubt in my mind about that. We are late for a quick time out. I'll let you know we're sitting in the Family Leisure Studios, and now we've got this factory direct pool, spa, and patio furniture sale going on where pools start at $19.99. The chemicals, you're going to need them. We're going to get warm here in a little bit. Chemicals, toys, accessories, all up to 20% off. Spas starting at $21.99. Swim spas under $10,000. Patio furniture, 5-piece sets start at $7.99. Maintenance free poly furniture, the cool stuff, up to 20% off. And if you mention this ad, you'll get free delivery and 1 month of chemicals with your spa purchase. All you got to do is get to I-40 and Wooden Road. That's where you'll find Family Leisure. We are back in a minute. We are just underway, and we've got Precious Metals next on Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
Ladies and gentlemen, grab a seat every afternoon for Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 FM and 87.7 FM.
I want to invite you to come by the Spirit Shop. You know, that little log cabin on Poplar? Your liquor and wine oasis. The Spirit Shop has been providing sports fans their beverage needs since way back in 1969. So come in now and get ready for the big game. Whether your favorite team wins or loses, the Spirit Shop will help you celebrate or ease that pain away. The Spirit Shop is open every day, and they're located perfectly at 4848 Poplar. That's the corner of Poplar and St. Nick.
Make your day smoking with the Big Green Egg. You can smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Ceramic never rusts, and the easy, accurate temperature control gives you the greatest range of any grill. Make your next grill your last with the Big Green Egg. Available at these nearby locations: Hamilton Fireplace Shop, 4462 Summer Avenue; Germantown Hardware Company, 2083 South Germantown Road; Garden Spas and Pool, 9393 Poplar Avenue; and East Memphis Ace Hardware, 5143 Quince Road.
I'm a big fan of Town Village, and there is always something to do year-round. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $2,300. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, daily check-in, monthly coffee club, themed dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
Mid-South Power Distributors is your source for all things diesel. For more than 26 years, they've supplied all the diesel parts that you need. From simple repairs to complete overhauls, they have it all. Whether it's heavy, medium, light duty, agricultural, marine, or off-road, Mid-South Power is the leading source for all things diesel. Fuel injection, turbochargers, engine parts, alternators, starters, and brakes, they can supply all the parts and services you need. Stop in today at 3250 Mill Branch Road in Memphis or call 901-396-0710.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wolochen and Brett Norsworthy.
Somebody must keep you around.
Welcome back in, halfway through our first hour on this Monday with a big lineup coming your way. We always begin this portion of the show with a little bit of medal action. I'm going to give a bronze medal to the Hardy Region fans of rodeo. Did you see this story? I'm going to ask you guys.
I saw the rodeo guys at the Grizzlies game last Wednesday night.
The rodeo was at FedEx Forum Saturday night.
Technically, it's not an actual rodeo. Riding. It's just bull riding.
Yeah, it's just bull riding. Okay. Do you know how many people showed up? If you do, all right. So here comes not even a full rodeo.
Now, is this the scan count?
This was what the reporter said the crowd was.
I think we need a scan count on the bull riding, don't we?
Maybe. I don't know. But I'm going to tell you what the reporter reported.
Man, bull riding sounds like it can be very tender down yonder, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, they have. I'm sure they wear a cup. Down they wear helmets. You're right. They just started that a few years ago.
I'd wear every pad they offered.
Yeah.
I'd be looking like the Michelin Man.
How many people do you think showed up for professional bull riding? First time it's ever been here.
16,212.
No.
12 and a half?
10,000.
Would have filled the Coliseum.
10,000 people.
Would have filled the Roundhouse.
I got to give them. Who knew you could get that many people?
I saw Grizz in a bull riding contest last week during the game, didn't I?
Yeah, you did, and you lost.
Do you know that? I guess to fill where the basketball court would be, you know how it took 1.5 tons of dirt.
That's a lot of dirt.
It seems to me way more than you'd need.
I just need one big wheelbarrow for a hole in my yard. That's it. Wonder if I could get into their dirt.
You might be able to. How did they get? Where's the dirt come from? Does it travel from city to city?
Do you import dirt?
How do you?
Where do you go?
How do you get it up? Do you use a vacuum? How do they do that?
Well, you got to have that
big
much dirt
shovel.
because there's concrete slab, and let's think about it. You want to make it as soft of a landing for those guys when they get kicked off a bull.
I get. Well, you got to have the dirt for the bulls to run
we
around.
got to look out for the bull too, don't we?
See, we are. I'm
You're
just
not worried about the bull?
Not.
He's on his own?
One bit, yeah.
Well, it's a lot better in this sport than it is in bull fighting.
We know that. Well, not always.
That
but
that always ends in death. Come on.
Have you ever been to a bullfight?
No.
I did one time.
Did you? Where?
In Acapulco.
Acapulco?
Yeah. I was 14. I don't know if I'd go again. It was
bloody,
a little morbid.
Oh, yeah.
Bull loses.
The human almost always wins that one.
Those few times he doesn't.
Oh.
Mess with a bull, you know what happens? You get the horn.
You do. I give a silver medal to Ja and to Jaron.
Did we really just give a bronze to bull riding?
And to I gave to the fans. I gave it to the fans.
To the fans. Okay.
10,000 fans.
To the Hardy fans. I'm sorry, Dave. That's exactly what you said. I need to listen better to
Please.
the Hardy fans of bull riding. How much for you to ride a bull? To even attempt it? How much?
How much you got?
How much? What's your opening proffer?
I'd do it for $250,000.
Get me a lot cheaper than that. End of the month, you can get me real cheap.
I'm impressed with how all three Memphis players played in the Rising
It was a good weekend.
Stars. There was I don't know which website graded them, but all three of the Grizzlies graded from A to I want to say A-. I think even Brandon Clark, I know, got like an A-. I think Jaren Jackson got an A or A- too. All three. That was something else.
Which one would you rather have to explain to your parents? Mom, Dad, you paid for me to go to college to A, cover bull riding, or B, hand out grades from All-Star Weekend?
Cover bull riding, I guess.
What are you talking about? The guys that are doing the grades are making a lot of money.
We really got grades from All-Star Weekend?
The guys who are covering that bull riding, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it was a website. Somebody was paid money to do that. It was an NBA beat writer.
It was a good weekend for the Grizz.
It was. And then I'm going to give a gold medal to the NBA All-Star Game. I got home in time from Connecticut to watch the end of that game. I watched about the last 5 minutes, which took forever. And holy smokes, they were playing defense. They really wanted to win the game.
Kyle Lowry drew a charge and tried to another time.
I know. And they challenged a call. It really was competitive. I loved and I thought this was kind of stupid the way they were doing it. I give them props. I'm wrong. They're 100% right. It made the All-Star Game a tolerable – no, it made it a good event.
Do we owe Giannis an apology for his roster composition?
We do, because those guys did try to play.
They sure did. That's a lot of nerve. Come to All-Star Weekend and hustle.
I hope they
Who are you, young fella?
I'd still like the world against the USA, but do it like this with that target thing at the end. I'm telling you, that was fun to watch.
Did we hit the over?
Yeah.
On the over and under?
Yeah, wasn't it 299? It was 157, 155.
Oh, we cleared it easily. Easily. Well, I'm glad the over bettors won. You didn't have any cash on it, did you?
We never bet on an NBA All-Star Game or
That's a cry for help,
All-Star game.
Bet no, anybody out there, seriously, we won't tell on you. 67129.
Are we going to walk you down the?
Did you bet on the All-Star Game?
Walk you down the ledge?
Hi, my name is. That's where you need to start if you bet on the All-Star Game. Bronze medal for me. I have a couple. Is that okay? You only went one each.
I know.
That's very un-Dave. That marks off nothing on the Wolo bingo card.
It doesn't, because normally there's one and then 1A and 1B.
Which equals about 9.
Now, I've never heard before that we couldn't give out multiple.
That's accurate, but you go singular today. Why? Why just one each?
You normally go multiple top stories of the day. Are you okay?
You know, I usually do multiple because I usually start with a big story. Today it turned out to be Bill Ennis and Frank Lieber, which had nothing to do with what the weekend was. So the big story was that way. But sometimes I have two because we start with a story that's really the top story, and then because we do this the way we do this, I have to come up with something else.
I'll go with my bronze, Adam Scott. He won a bunch of money yesterday, about $1.7 million, winning in Hollywood.
Can you believe how much money there is? This isn't WGC. This is every event now.
Every event.
Man.
I mean,
I wish I could play
25th place. You're in the cheese. You made money.
25th place paid what?
I don't know, but it's good.
I think it paid $250,000.
No, it's not that much. It's not that much, but you can get out of the top 10 and make money. Adam Scott, he wins in Hollywood, but Matt Kuchar, old buddy Matt Kuchar, with the big check. And that's okay with him. It's okay with me.
Right.
You know, his approach may be the right way. It really may be. No pressure. Grin. Wave to the crowd. Get your sponsor dough. He's won 9 times in his career. He's got enough money for every Kuchar the rest of his life.
What did he win yesterday?
$700,000.
See?
Didn't knock a sweat off of him.
And the other thing is, even though he does do the Skechers stuff and he gets a little bit of sponsor money,
he can live. He can go through an airport. He can go to
walk
dinner.
down the street. Exactly.
Matt Kuchar might go to a Georgia Tech football game.
We
and
joke
get
about
bothered,
this,
but not many times.
We joke about this, and I'm sure he likes to win, but I don't think he cares that much about it.
He was fine today.
I know it. I don't.
It might be the way to do it.
I don't think it burns in him like it burns in Tiger or Brooks Koepka
or
Phil. Any of those guys that have won a lot.
And isn't that the difference between the upper crust league and the next league? Because wherever Jerry Jones is on planet Earth today, right now, wherever he is, he's thinking about making money and winning for the Dallas Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
In that order.
Mm-hmm.
In that order.
Yeah. Well, he's done really well with the making money part.
Somewhere today, Nick Saban has done something to win a football game next fall. Not everybody's cut like that.
No. Well, it's.
In fact, I'm not cut like that. I'm pretty comfortable, Dave. I'm only giving out 1 bronze. I was going to give out 2. I'm not going to go to the trouble.
Oh, no. I think you should do 2.
Okay, the other one, the UConn guard play. Vital, a senior, Book Knight, a freshman. 30 of the 64 for them, and without a cook, the Huskies were still able to win. UConn shooting 32% from the field, and they're able to win the game because they shot 90% from the line, and they had less turnovers and more rebounds.
A cook. I just felt so bad for him.
I did too.
A cook had hit a freshman wall. His production had gone down to nothing. He was going to do, remember we talked with Chris Wallace a couple of years ago when it first came into the Grizzlies' possession, that freezing stuff, what is it called? Cryonics?
Mm-hmm.
He was doing that twice a week. They were trying to get him back on track. I hope he comes back and plays. Because,
shredded Achilles, though, wasn't it?
Shredded Achilles is a very, very hard injury to come back from.
2 silvers in this year of topsy-turvy. On February 17th in college basketball, it's not so topsy-turvy in 2 leagues. You look at the ACC standings, you look at the SEC standings, you see Duke and Kentucky. No shocker. Other silver goes to Gonzaga and to Dayton. They have that now or never look to them. For both of them, if you don't do it this year, when are you?
What about San Diego State?
I'm getting to them in gold.
Oh, you're giving them gold.
Gold medal goes to the Aztecs. 26-0 is 26-0. Michael Cage and Smokey Gaines would be so proud of their school. Another gold to the Grizzlies. Big weekend at All-Star Weekend. Another gold to Baylor. 22-1, holding firm for a while at number 1. They host Kansas on Saturday. College basketball game day will be there. I wonder if there are any local apologies to Scott Drew. Maybe this last 11 years of a whole lot of really nothing in Tiger basketball could have been averted with hiring Scott Drew when he wanted the job and true character assassination occurred to him. Last goal for me, Ole Miss. They take 2 out of 3 over the weekend against number 1 Louisville in college baseball and ended it on a bang-bang double play. Strike out, throw them out. Everybody goes home a winner. Ole Miss wins 2 out of 3 against U of L.
That is incredible. That's the number 1 preseason team that they just took 2 out of 3 from.
It's how brutal the SEC West is in baseball. Ole Miss picked 6th. It's much tougher in baseball than it is in football because the bottom's better.
Mm-hmm. No question. I'll be curious to see if
and the top's just as good.
Is a lot better than people gave them credit for, or is Louisville not as good?
You got a rust?
Yeah, my rust is Tigers not finishing, and you can't be up in 7 of your 8 losses with 7 minutes to go and lose all those games. That goes back to what I said. I mean, it's just boxing out, not getting killed on second chance points, not turnovers. And free throws at bad times. They're very good to start the game with free throws, and then end of games, front end of one-on-ones, I can't seem to get them to go. And it's been just brutal, and that's why they are where they're at.
I got 2 rusts, one for the Tigers and one for Tiger. Last place for Tiger Woods, and now every time he doesn't play well, the inevitable injury whispers every tournament, but it won't be this week. He's passing on WGC in Mexico City, which will only fuel the injury talk. He admitted to a stiff back. When he has to play that early, you're going to have to once a weekend. On Thursday or Friday, you're going to go early. You're going to do bus. You have to. You go early one day, later the other, and then you flip-flop. After he goes really early and it's a little bit cool, and it could be one of those mornings at Augusta, he's not the same. Another rush to the Tigers on the way to an at best 6 seed in Fort Worth. And I think this is not just an average league. I think it's a bad league. Too many turnovers for the Tigers. Too much preseason hype, too few free throws made, and just not sharp as a team. Just not very sharp. It plays hard, though, and you do want to go down fighting and swinging, and they do that.
I'm not going to say it's a bad league, because I don't believe it's a bad league. It is not a mid-major league.
It's closer to a 1-bid league than it is to 4 or 5 bid league.
It is a 3-bid league. I am pretty certain it will get 3 bids.
I'm not. Cincinnati was close to losing to East Carolina, and that's the end of 3rd bid.
Cincinnati,
but they didn't.
Cincinnati is a pretender team because their best player, and he is by far a really, really good player when healthy, that's Jaron Cumberland. He can't jump. He couldn't play yesterday. He couldn't play against Connecticut. He was 1 of 11. Against Memphis, he was 1 of 7. And all he did at the end was go in and throw his body around to get free throws. He got every call, and he made all those free throws. He had 1 field goal, and he had 16 points in the game against Memphis. 14 points came from free throws. They're not a good team. I think they'll be the one that'll fall back. But I'll tell you right now, Houston's going to get in, and the winner of the tournament could get in if it is in Houston, and then you can pick between Wichita State and Tulsa, and you better put Tulsa in because they're not so bad, and Memphis has a chance if they run the table they will get in if they obviously run the table and win the tournament. That is precious metals. We will take a quick timeout. I will let you know that this portion of our show is brought to you by Supercuts. You know the place. Supercuts, they got 15 of them all around town. You go to supercuts.com, find the location nearest to you, and there will be one close by. It's a great company. It started with 1 30 years ago. Every couple of years, they add another one as the population increases. And every one of these wonderful places, they have people in there, hairstylists that know their stuff. They're trained to understand the details matter, and every new cut counts. And they know. They do their homework. They know all the new cuts. Walk through the door, just ask them. And I mean, you can be any walk of life, any age, they know. And then every haircut ends with the hot towel finish. You feel relaxed, and you feel invigorated all at the same time, and you're going to look good, which makes you feel good. Supercuts.com, and then feel good just by going to Supercuts. Back in a minute. This is Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
The Vault on G.E. Patterson in South Main downtown has all your game day needs with 30 TVs. If your game is not on one of the 20 big screens, then sit in a booth with your own remote. The Vault has game day specials on pitchers, buckets of beer, and great food, which is the best thing about the Vault. This is not your normal sports bar. Chef Dirk Meitzler from On Tour and Cafe 621 has all his favorites like Chicken Newport and his new lobster enchilada. Open for lunch and dinner every day with lunch specials for $12 weekdays with a drink. The Vault on G.E. Patterson in South Main, your downtown place to eat, drink, and watch the game.
Hey everybody, this is Coach Penny Hardaway. There's a comfort in being home, and to me, comfort food and family makes Memphis the place to be, along with having the best basketball fans in America. I like pulling into Corky's and getting one of their family party packs. How can you go wrong with pork, beans, slaw, sauce, and buns for only $5.99 a person? It is so easy. I can call ahead, order online, or just pop in. Tailgating can't get any easier. Tell them Penny sent you.
Encore flavor, Corky's barbecue.
Farmers Insurance knows that when you're in the car and that song comes on, yes, that's the one, you have no choice but to pull out your imaginary drumsticks and smash those cymbals and stomp on that kick pedal, which unfortunately is the accelerator pedal. And we covered it. Talk to a farmer's agent who knows a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Call Chad Gatlin at 901-235-1176 or get a fast quote at memphisfarmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Listen up, Rebel fans. You can now listen to Rebel Yell Hotline on 87.7 FM or on the web each and every Monday from 6 to 7 p.m. If you can't listen to 87.7 FM, Sports 56 has made it possible to listen online each and every week. All you have to do is go to sports56whbq.com and click on the Rebel Yell Hotline banner to listen. That's Rebel Yell Hotline each and every Monday night from 6 to 7 p.m. on 87.7 FM or on the web at sports56whbq.com.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
We like to party.
Cruising through our first hour on this Monday. Interesting story with this Myles Garrett, Mason Rudolph. He said, she said. He said.
Boy,
he
Mike
said.
Tomlin came to the hearty defense today,
and I'm really glad because I think this is an important distinction to make. So he goes on First Take this morning, one of the morning shows on ESPN, and he tells Stephen A. Smith, quote, the most recent one this past weekend, referring to another accusation by Myles Garrett, right? That basically said he lost his mind and was crazy enough to take his helmet and swing at a guy without a helmet on, being Mason Rudolph, that he did that because Mason Rudolph called him the N-word. So, here is what Tomlin says is, I took offense to it. To be quite honest with you, I fully support Mason Rudolph. We as an organization fully support Mason Rudolph. To be quite honest with you, we're hacked off by what we saw this weekend. I think Rudolph's reputation needs to be defended and defended aggressively. He goes, the accusations are serious, not only in terms of Mason's character, but his professional pursuits. Nobody on the field, as a member of the Cleveland Browns or the Pittsburgh Steelers, corroborated what was said by Myles Garrett. At no point during that piece this weekend, which was this interview that Garrett did,
the story was
it ever corroborated.
The story was dead, and they run Mina Kimes out there to kind of to rehash the story, and now it's the second swing at the pinata for Mason Rudolph, and he's having, basically to go out there and defend his name and his reputation. I just don't see how anybody in sports today in a locker room could get by with that being said one time.
I agree.
Not a single time.
And look,
and any teammate of his from Oklahoma State, from high school, from any point in his life that's basically played out in the 21st century, he could not get by with it. And you're not getting any other Browns teammates to corroborate
that's
Myles Garrett. Where do we go, Dave, if in 2 weeks or in 2 months or on the eve of next season it gets really too much for Myles Garrett and he equivocates, he acquiesces and goes, I made it all up. Do we just nicely go away?
No, I don't think he'll ever do that because there's no way he could live that down.
If he does, should there be penalty for him?
If he does, he should be bounced, in my opinion.
From the league?
Yeah.
Permanently?
Well, first off, this could be taken to a court, as is pointed out in this piece.
Good luck with high-profile people suing.
Rudolph is considering some sort of litigation.
Public figures can't sue. You can say, Dave, I can say you wear to pay
bottom
whether
line
you
is
do
this.
or don't.
The bottom line is
you
this.
can't sue me for it. You're a public figure.
Do you have actually? I'm thinking about litigation, by the way, because you have prior knowledge and you're just blatantly lying, which is probably
I am blatantly lying.
Here's the thing: if you think Pittsburgh's got a team code of silence on
I
this,
remember when you had blonde hair, Dave.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh yeah,
it hasn't always been white.
No. You don't go buy
the
white
truth here is, if this were really true, somebody from Cleveland would back their guy.
One somebody from Steve Sable's NFL Films
crew. It is
crew.
such a horrible accusation that, honestly, if there were any
Mina
truth
Kimes
to it,
with the tough
somebody
questioning,
would
didn't
come
she?
up with it. I just read the quotes. I did not see it.
You didn't miss a thing.
I'm just telling you, this is defamation of character if it's not true. And I would believe if it were true, he would be getting corroboration from teammates. When his teammates aren't coming up, this is bad news for him.
And Mike Tomlin's
I don't think I can take him seriously ever again. And he's.
I take him serious as a rush defensive end.
He's very good that way. But here's a guy that lost his cool so bad he had to have an excuse.
And immediately after that game that night, there wasn't a hint of that. That was glommed onto a couple of days later.
Right. Seems very fishy to me. That's an hour.
And Mike Tomlin has really one of the people of the NFL with the utmost stature.
I think he's a classy guy.
I do too.
I don't think he's ever presented any kind of untrue statement that I know of. I think he usually sticks by his guys, so you'd expect this.
Old Tiger GA.
Yep.
Mike Tomlin.
Worked for Tommy West. That's an hour in the books. Coming up, David Cobb from CBSSports.com. He's next on Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
At Jason's Deli, you can stuff yourself full of great deli food that's healthy, fresh, and best of all, it's not expensive. Jason's Deli is all about choice. Whether you're looking for a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids' meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build-your-own selections, Jason's Deli has you covered. And they only use fresh, wholesome ingredients. Choose from the club and specialty sandwiches, paninis, wraps, soups, salads, pastas, and much more. I love the cleanliness in the restaurant, the hospitality, and of course the cost. They have a huge salad bar and great soups, including Southwest chicken chili, fire roasted tortilla, organic vegetable, tomato basil, and many, many more. And if you're planning an event, their catering department is fantastic and can handle any size party. Go check out Jason's Deli's 4 locations. On Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, that's my favorite, on Germantown Parkway in Cordova, at Poplar and Highland, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
The Can-Am Spring Fever event is here and ready to take you on the ultimate off-road ride and get you some serious savings. Can-Am is built for ripping through trails, crawling through mud, cruising over dunes, getting the job done. Get it done for less. Farmers and ranchers can save up to $1,500 on select 2020 Defender models, or even on select 2019 models, save up to $2,500 during the Spring Fever event. Get yourself a new Can-Am off-road vehicle at a great price. Visit us today, Olive Branch Motorsports, 5656 Goodman Road, or online at obmotorcycleatv.com.
Hey folks, I'm Jarrett Carter. My family recently purchased East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quince and White Station, and we're excited to offer the best selection of Big Green Egg and Traeger grills. And then don't forget about our Benjamin Moore Paint Studio and the Garden Center for flowers. Save 60% with our new Duracell key fob replacement program. We have a master locksmith service as well as glass cutting and screen repair. The East Memphis Ace Hardware, located at Quince and White Station behind Three Little Pigs.
I'm a big fan of Town Village, and there is always something to do year-round. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $2,300. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, daily check-in, monthly coffee club, themed dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM, 96.1, and 87.7 FM, as well as online around the world at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere on your phone or tablet by downloading the Sports 56 app, and at home, tell Alexa or Google to play Sports 56. If it's happening in the world of sports, we've got it covered. Wherever you are, stay tuned to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in. Wolo Stats with you on this Monday, day after the Tigers probably took away any chance of getting into the tournament as an at-large bid. And 2 heartbreaking losses this past week. There's just no way around it. You had both teams really, you probably should have won.
Really 3 in a row. Back to last Saturday at home against South Florida.
Yeah, that's the most critical one because you lost it at home. But those 2 losses on the road were teams you should have beaten. There's no question about that.
Yeah, on the cruel meter, those were pretty high.
Even if you won the next 6 games, it would give you 23 wins. It might get you in because you'd have 2 over Houston, 1 over Wichita. So I don't know, but I doubt that it really would.
I watched most of the Houston SMU game Saturday in Moody. SMU able to win in overtime.
Yeah, that was shocking.
Houston's really good. The Tigers will have to have their best game of the year to win Saturday.
I think Houston is the best team. I think they have the most talent. I think there's 7 or 8 guys.
I think they've got the best coach. That's a lot of combinations.
That are really, really
best
good.
Best team, best players, best coach.
I hear a lot of people, they say the same thing about Kelvin as they do about Penny, that he just rolls the ball out there. He gets good players. Believe me, there are schemes to all this.
He's been to a Final Four.
Kelvin Sampson knows exactly what he is doing. We talk college basketball with the guy who writes for college basketball. Now for CBS, that would be our friend David Cobb. And I just saw a little bit ago that apparently the ACC is starting to, like the Big Ten, back this new deal where every student athlete who goes to college, any sport, will get a one-time transfer that he can go without sitting out anywhere. Personally, I would do it with the caveat you can't do it till your second year. Because I think too many kids get homesick their freshman year. They're not getting as many minutes, or they're not starting, or whatever the deal may be, and they just don't give it a chance. And they're not mature enough to understand that, and they go. And then the grass is not always greener. But it looks like this is going to go through because the Big Ten wants it. Now the ACC wants it. It's just a matter of time. David Cobb, what is your sense of the new transfer rule?
Well, the NCAA is in no position to play hardball here and do anything or prevent anything from coming into action that would not benefit student athletes. The NCAA is in a position right now where they essentially have to acquiesce to anything that their members want. They have to acquiesce to anything that's going to give the appearance that they are on the side of student athletes because, they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to lobby Congress right now to help them figure out, the name, image, and likeness issue. So the fact that another major conference has wanted to support this, to me, I think that constitutes a groundswell of support now. I think it'll only be a matter of time, before the rest of the leagues are on board. I mean, the ACC coming on board with this, I think right now is the product of the fact that they're having their winter meetings largely. So when the other conferences sit down and have their ADs in the same room, I would imagine that they'll follow suit, and I would imagine that the NCAA won't be far behind and saying, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. We're all about doing anything we can to benefit the student athletes.
David, let's turn it to locally and to the Tigers. We've talked a lot about it. Another loss, 5-7 now in the calendar year 2020, and there's a lot of reasons. I mean, there's not one thing or just one thing you can point to. It's a menagerie of things you can point to of the Tigers being in the position that they are now in at 17 up and 8 down. But one thing that I strongly reject is their top 2 or 3 players are out, so you can't expect anything from them. Yesterday, a counter to that is one thing. They had no James Wiseman and no Lester Quinones, and they were able to win at Knoxville back in December. And yesterday, of the 5 most minutes played, the worst rivals ranking for any of those 5 players was for a 4-star in Damian Ball being 86, Tyler Harris 72nd. Lester Quinones, 48th. Boogie Ellis, 37th. Precious Achua, 17th. I mean, it's not like they had a bunch of walk-ons and misfits out there. They had players everybody in the sport wants.
Yeah, and that win in Knoxville that you referenced is, as things stand now, it's their only quad 1 win. And they'll have 3 more chances. I mean, the book feels like it's closed on an at-large bid because of how things have been trending and just the momentum of 3 straight losses carrying you in that direction. But Spencer, right, there is still talent on this other team, and it's talent that I think is improving. I mean, I look at Boogie Ellis. I just looked at the numbers over his last 7 games. 13 points a game on 48.7% from the field, 45.5% from beyond the arc. I know he didn't do a ton against UConn, but I look at a guy like that, and I see, 1, a player who used to be committed to Duke, and 2, a player who's getting a lot better as his freshman season goes on. So, I mean, yes, they are playing without James Wiseman, but James Wiseman hasn't been a part of the team for a while now. Okay, so if we're going to be looking at this Memphis Tigers team, you kind of have to, I think, at this point, sort of stop using that as a crutch. Now, certainly, DJ Jeffries being out hurts you, but there is still talent, and the talent, I think, is getting better. I really think that this team is, even in the midst of these last 2 losses, there's no excuse for the South Florida loss. But the last 2, I think this team has actually played pretty well against Cincinnati, and they had their moments where they looked all right against UConn yesterday. So it feels like the sky is falling a little bit, but they still have those 3 quad 1 games left, and I genuinely believe that, as you referenced, that the talent is there, and it's talent that I do believe is starting to play better.
But I agree with him 100% on that.
I do too, David. But you hear people, you say a crutch. I think some are using it as an excuse. Look, James Wiseman, no doubt, the number 1 player, but people making it sound like lost Akeem Olajuwon. They got trounced at Oregon with him, and then making DJ Jeffries sound like they lost Larry Keenan, and then they almost want to make the players that are left. And I went through their rivals ranking. They want to make them sound like they're Courtney Trask, Torian Richards, and Chiron Chapman.
Yeah, I mean, I don't buy that because losing Wiseman hurts, losing DJ Jeffries hurts. We're considering DJ Jeffries one of the 3 best players in this argument, and it's an argument that I've heard a lot of people make. And that's probably true, but I don't think that DJ Jeffries is head and shoulders better than Lester Quinones. So I don't think that DJ Jeffries is just immensely more talented than some of these other guys on the roster. Somebody else has impressed me. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I think Malcolm Dandridge has shown the makings of a quality player, probably as the least heralded member of this recruiting class. He's the guy whose minutes have increased as a result of Jeffries and Wiseman being out, and a guy who I think has been the least reasonably helpful out on the court, especially given some of the lack of front court options. So Lance Thomas has had his moments since those guys have been out. So this roster is deep enough to where I genuinely believe that if they can somehow get a bye, which is an uphill battle from here on out. They need to win probably at least 4 of the final 6 to have a shot at getting a bye in the AAC tournament. And if they can do that, I still think that they're deep enough, especially if they get DJ back for the AAC tournament, that they can potentially make a run.
I think you're right. I think if they win 4 of those 6, and I think that's doable. I think if you look at East Carolina's a winnable game. If you're going to have to beat Houston, and you're going to have to beat Wichita State at home. I think you probably will fall at Houston. I think you'll probably fall at SMU because they can score a lot of points, although that should be an interesting game. And I'm trying to remember the last one. But I think 4-2 is I said that one already.
I mean, if you take care of business and win your 3 home games that you have left, and you win at Tulane, which shouldn't be too hard, that's 4-2 right there. I mean, you're 10-8 in the league at that point.
And that's what I think can occur. That's not good enough to get you into the NCAA tournament, but it is good enough, I believe, with the way things could work out here, that you would be in position to get to the 4th seed.
But, David, we've been doing this kind of winning it out rosy scenario really since the SMU game, and it kind of just keeps getting worse. It's the proverbial knot in the shoe. The more we mess at it, the worse it gets.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's only 201 days until Memphis football season. So there's always that, which I tweeted yesterday, which some people seem to appreciate, some people didn't.
I'll always love a college football countdown tweet.
Raw season.
You wrote on CBS today, or maybe it was a couple days ago, I can't remember which, but that Sharif O'Neal was going to LSU. And I know the U of M was in that mix of his final schools when he decided he was going to transfer from UCLA. Do you have any idea how close he came to come in here? What swung the deal with LSU? And really, how good is he? He was, I know, a high-ranking prospect, got to UCLA and had an issue with health. I think it was a heart issue. Didn't play. Yeah. And then this year, it has not been, he was not recruited by Mick Cronin. He was recruited by Steve Alford. But he came in, he only averaged 2 points and about 3 rebounds a game in 10 minutes. And played 13 games and then thought, you know what, I'm out of here. So how good is he really?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. And how much did what he underwent from a health standpoint impact his ceiling as a player? Because anytime you're a kid who undergoes open heart surgery, I imagine there's quite a rehabilitation process. Maybe just on learning how to sort of trust yourself again. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know how big of a pickup that really is for LSU. I mean, this is a UCLA team that is okay, that hopes to maybe get on the right side of the bubble this year, but isn't there yet. And if he couldn't cut it there, I have my doubts about how useful of a player he is. And so my gut is that he ends up at LSU largely because it's a place that is sort of like home for him and his family due to the fact that his father played there. And maybe he is a role player. But I don't see him being better than, say, a Lance Thomas.
That's funny. That is exactly because these numbers are exactly the kind of numbers Lance Thomas had in his freshman year at Louisville. Now, granted,
average 2 and 2.
Yes.
Yeah,
now, he was a 4-star guy out of high school.
Lance Thomas was?
Yes. 4-star guy out of high school, played on a great high school team with a bunch of other good athletes. 4-star guy, and went to Louisville, but he was signed by Pitino. Not
rivals. Lance Thomas was 3-star, but whatever. I mean, 3, 4, who cares?
Well, I read a story. Maybe it's 24/7. I don't know, but I read he was a 4-star.
Yeah, I mean, he was a top 100 guy in his class, from what I understand, but you also have to wonder, there's always going to be a part of me when you see somebody who has that level of name recognition, how much of their rating is influenced by the star factor. I mean, people claim that doesn't happen, but I think it does.
I'm sure it does.
So I wonder about that too. At some point, though, I do start to get curious about the makeup of next season's Memphis roster. I mean, I think it's highly likely that they could end up scouring the transfer market or the graduate transfer market, to fill up all their allotment of scholarships. I mean, because what we know, there's nobody committed as part of the 2020 class right now. I mean, that can still change, but You're going to lose at least a couple of guys off the team. You're losing one with Isaiah Maurice graduating. So you're going to have some spots to fill. And so I just kind of wonder what direction they're going to go. And I don't think that you have to in any way just throw your lot in for Sharif O'Neal. I don't view that as them missing out on some big piece by any stretch.
But by the way, Lance prospect, a 4-star as a prospect by 24/7.
Rivals, 3-star, 147 nationally.
Interesting.
And again, it kind of highlights, if you really want to fight, no, I'm not 147, I'm really 121, have at it. Because most of the people having that fight never saw him play before they got to college.
And O'Neal was a 4-star prospect, and that was by 24/7. So he and Thomas, if you look at their resumes, like a blind resume, they're very, very similar. So, David, I think you were.
I would think neither
that.
one of them are really worth fighting over.
No, I don't think so either. But Memphis is going to have to figure something out at some point. Maybe if this had drugged out for a few more months, maybe they do start to get serious about looking at a guy of his caliber. But I don't think there's any need to go all in on that at this point in the calendar.
And I don't know the young guy, and I hope first and foremost his health is okay for Sharif O'Neal. But if it were Sharif Cobb or Sharif Norsworthy or Sharif Woloshin, I bet he wouldn't have the allure and the attachment to some of these star rankings that he's enjoyed.
For sure, and would LSU have been interested in the first place if he wasn't a family legacy?
If it was Sharif Maravich, they would have been.
Oh, sure. If you're talking about a proud alum, there's always going to be the benefit of the doubt there.
If Shaq calls, you make room for his kid on the team.
Here is where they can take a chance, because in this class for 2020, they got a 5-star in Cameron Thomas. They got a 4-star in Mawani Wilkinson. They got a 3-star in Jalen Cook and Bradley Ezwiro. So they've got 4 guys who are really good.
Yeah, and David, I think this whole conversation kind of highlights back to last April or so during the signing period, and we would have recruiting analysts on, and everything just ablaze with the Tigers. And we had one analyst on, and he was talking about the smoke, and he was talking about the drip, and he was talking about the shoe game, and he was talking about where the coaching staff likes to go eat wings. None of that junk matters when you get into a season. You get into a season and there's a scoreboard over the floor and there's a record book that the records are kept. And on February 17th, you're 17-8. That's not any good.
No, and I hate to use it as an excuse, but again, I looked at the Ken Palm numbers today. As of today, and maybe it's been this case, but I hadn't noticed it until now. Memphis has the least experienced roster in Division I college basketball, and so you can get, the number 1 recruiting class. But I just don't buy the argument that it was ever going to make them a lock to make the second weekend, out of the gate, because they were still going to be extremely young, probably still the youngest team in the country with James Wiseman, and so you need some veterans, and then. Also, sometimes it doesn't matter at all how good your recruiting class is. Look at Baylor and Scott Drew right now. They've built that thing with a bunch of 3-star guys and some grad transfers.
Very true.
It's ridiculous. So this next season, I think could be if you want to look at it this way, it could be a fantastic opportunity for Penny to prove how good of a coach he is, if he is, because they're going to be a team that doesn't have the number 1 recruiting class for one thing. They're going to be a team with much lower expectations. And if the guys continue to get better and Boogie stays around and keeps progressing on this trajectory, and Lester Quinones comes back and continues to progress on the trajectory that he's shown, and same with Dandridge and Harris and Lomax and on down the list.
Don't forget Jeffries. The only guy gone, unless there's others that leave through the transfer portal, the only guy gone will be Precious. All those guys will be a year older, and whatever class you're going to bring in, whether that's if Cisse reclassifies, which that's the latest rumor that he is going to. If Green and Brown come here, then you will have those expectations. If they don't, you got a class that is a year older. It's funny you mentioned KenPom. Do you realize that yesterday Connecticut had a better KenPom than Memphis? Memphis was 64. KenPom was 63 going into that game.
That's kind of wild. Yeah, that is wild. Well, I think if I'm Memphis, okay, yeah, it'd be great if you got Cisse and he reclassified, or you got Jalen or one of these guys that's still out there. I think what would be better for them in terms of maximizing their potential next season is if they got a couple of grad transfers. I mean, obviously,
I think they're in that market. I think they are
highly
in that
touted
market.
prospects, but I think a grad transfer would do wonders. Somebody with some leadership, somebody with some experience, somebody who's appeared in an NCAA tournament. I don't know who that guy is off the top of my head.
They're out there.
They haven't announced their intentions at this point in the calendar, but that could be a route that I think would be extremely beneficial for this Tigers team. They tried to do it with Rajon Tucker and things didn't work out, but I think that could be something that it can make all the difference, between where we are a year from now.
And that's a point I've brought up several times that just sort of eats at me. But when you mentioned Ken Pom has them listed, and they're the youngest team in America. It's enough to use that. Even on Penny's TV show, which you can watch tonight, 6:30 on CW30. He goes, they should be like sophomores now. So he's throwing that out the door. But if you look, and Connecticut is not one of those schools. So they actually started 3 freshmen yesterday.
Not.
But if you look at all of the other teams in the American, they all have transfer portal guys with 4 and 5 years worth of experience, and Memphis just does not have that. And they've figured out, because young teams are this way, how to blow games. I mean, I really did not realize, and I got to give Precious Achiuwa all the credit. He said on the post-game show yesterday, if you look at 7 of our 8 losses, we had leads with 7 minutes to go. They've got to figure out how to finish.
That is a props to Precious, man. That's a great stat. That's a great stat. I mean, he hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah, he really did.
I didn't realize Oregon was in that group.
Oh yeah, Oregon's in that group.
They led late against. Wow,
late. 7 minutes is not that late, but it's
clock's ticking.
Yeah, clock is ticking. The Big Ten. Do you think they're worthy of double-digit teams into the big dance? I mean, Michigan State got back. I think didn't they get back into the poll in one of these polls?
Yeah, they got back into the. Well, they've lost 4 out of 5, and the coaches voted them back into the coaches poll today.
Yeah, they didn't make it in AP.
Yeah, they didn't. I think maybe you're seeing an overabundance of respect from the coaches there. I mean, I know they beat Illinois, but they blew a 7 or a 9-point lead in the final minutes to Maryland at home.
Yep.
Maryland's a great team, but you can't do that and be rewarded for it. But they were. But yeah, I mean, the Big Ten, no matter what computer metric you look at, no matter what poll you look at, I mean, yes, they are clearly the superior league in college basketball this season, just from a depth standpoint. I mean, I think right now they've got, 10 or 11 in the top, 50 of the net. I mean, so it's very possible. It's possible the Big Ten could get 11 teams into the NCAA tournament. How about that?
But you're just fundamentally not repulsed by too many from one league.
I mean, no, because the moment you make that argument against one league, you have to make it against the next.
No, you should get the best teams in. That's what it's
especially
supposed
those
to
at
be.
larges. Because we're being nice enough to the NEC and the MAC and the MAAC. They get their spot, and I want them to. That's part of the fabric and the elan of the tournament, especially the first 2 days. But for those at larges, I want the best. I don't want odd even gas rationing.
It'd be interesting though to see how many Big Ten teams actually make it to the second weekend, because I mean, aside from Maryland and maybe Michigan State and Penn State, like the rest of these teams from that league that make the dance are going to be like 6 seeds, 7 seeds, 8 seeds, somewhere in that region, just because of how much they've beat up on each other. I mean, it's possible we could look up at the second weekend and there could be as many Big 12 teams left as there are Big 10 teams, just because the teams that are going to make it out of the Big 12 are some of the best in the country, and Baylor and Kansas and West Virginia, if they can start to figure it out. So, I mean, the depth of the league is phenomenal, but is the top of the league as good as the top of some other leagues? I mean, I'm looking here, and there's that you could argue that the Big 12 and even the ACC are stronger at the top, even though the ACC is having a terrible year. So, I mean, it's interesting, just the concept of 11 teams making it out of a conference that is, called the Big 10. But I think they're deserving. My question is just, can they actually, prove it come the opening weekend and get, 5 or 6 of those teams to the second weekend?
David, in my life, I promise you, I've never been a North Carolina lover nor disliker. Never have been. Mostly respect her, good teams, great program, Dean, all that, St. Dean and St. Elroy. You look at those ACC standings, it is jarring to see them looking up at everybody, dead last.
Yeah, and I know jarring is not a word that we use lightly in Memphis. So it is pretty weird. I mean, even Virginia, out of the ACC, defending national champions, are a bubble team. I mean, that's just wild. And then one of your bell cows, Louisville, goes out and loses 2 straight to Georgia Tech and Clemson
unranked
last
teams.
week.
Yeah,
unranked
teams. That's college basketball right here. First of all, I think the Big East, you can make an argument they're as good a league as anybody.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I mean, Creighton climbing up, kind of low key. Seton Hall had a terrible week, but they're still legit.
Seton Hall was on the verge. Some people were saying it was the best team in the country, and then they get killed.
Still shocking. Creighton's in the Big East.
But by the way, your guy Palm, here's his last 4 in. Have you seen this?
He updated it today. What does he got?
Arkansas, which I thought would be a prime candidate to play Memphis in the NIT. Arkansas, Stanford, Cincinnati, and Wichita State. Houston is in, so that's a 3-bid league at the moment.
That that tells you that's one. I'm shocked that Arkansas is still in it. I mean, they're 4-8 in the league.
First 4 out are Richmond, Georgetown, Mississippi State, and Purdue. So maybe Mississippi State becomes the team Memphis would end up playing in the NIT.
What that tells me, though, guys, the SEC and the AAC have a ton at stake over the last 3 or 4 weeks of this season. I mean, the fortunes of those leagues could turn dramatically in one way or another. I mean, you could have, in a disaster scenario, as few as 3 teams, out of the SEC, and in the AAC, it sounds like just about everybody is on the bubble in some form or fashion. You'll get a couple of them in, but if things really go poorly, it could really be a bad showing in the dance for both of those leagues.
He is David Cobb. You read him now. It's CBSSports.com. Thank you, David. Have a great week.
Thanks, guys.
Always enjoy chatting with him. Our title sponsor this hour of the program, that would be Genesis of Olive Branch. Genesis. People are starting to notice what a great car that Genesis is. So many different things I could talk about, from different kind of headlights to seat warmers and seat air conditioners to technology that won't let me go into the lane next to me if there's a car there. Safety, and then, of course, acceleration and handling. I got the G90. That's the bigger car. The G80, that is also a terrific car, sort of midsize. Then there's the James Bond car, the G70. You go test drive that. You'll see what a rocket ship is like. I'm not kidding. You put that in the sport mode, and you got different modes. You got economy mode. You got smart mode. You've got sport mode. That's the one I like because that thing really takes off. You've got individual, where it sort of takes on what you do. I don't know how the computer does it, but it does it. And these products are so good they last forever. You get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty on every new Genesis in the lot. Just get on Lamar. It's Highway 78 Mississippi. First exit's Craft Road. Turn left. You're there. Go see Chris True and all the gang. See what luxury is all about. Take a look at Genesis from the people that are the best at selling them. That's Genesis of Olive Branch. Back in a minute, we'll talk more college basketball and bracketology and who's going where and what. That's going to be Shelby Mass next, right here on Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
Spend your lunch with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 middays, delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 to 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
The Vault on G.E. Patterson in South Main downtown has all your game day needs with 30 TVs. If your game is not on one of the 20 big screens, then sit in a booth with your own remote. The Vault has game day specials on pitchers, buckets of beer, and great food, which is the best thing about the Vault. This is not your normal sports bar. Chef Dirk Meitzler from On Tour and Cafe 621 has all his favorites like Chicken Newport and his new Lobster Enchilada. Open for lunch and dinner every day with lunch specials for $12 weekdays with a drink. The Vault on G.E. Patterson in South Main, your downtown place to eat, drink, and watch the game.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
You'll see the dedication in every single step. You'll see it in the smiles when smiles are hard to get. You'll see it in the little things that add up to success. The caring and passion are the things that we love best.
Wolf Chase Limb Brace is your Mid-South provider for orthotics and prosthetics. They are an ABC accredited facility, and their practitioners are ABC certified. At Wolf Chase Limb Brace, their services include artificial limbs, legs and arms, braces of all kinds, and custom molded inserts. You can call them today at 901-507-7821 for their location on Highway 64 in between Germantown Parkway and Appling Road, or visit them at their new location in Jackson, Tennessee. That number is 731-660-5900, or visit them on the web at wolfchaselimbembrace.com.
Our life to yours. Wolf Chase Limb and Brace.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Shelby Mast, who is the bracketology expert for USA Today, does the Daily Memphian all over the place, does it for us. He is coming up here in a minute. I'll let you know this portion of the show is brought to you by the Butcher Shop. You know, I like talking about these guys, and I hope you took advantage of the great deal they had for Valentine's Day. And if you like that strip or that filet or that fresh Atlantic salmon or the grilled lobster tails or the chow grilled chicken breasts, they got them all the time. They do. And they've got wine, and they, of course, have that great salad. You can get Caesar or Fresh Garden. You can get the baked potato and that special bread. They make it every day. And then, of course, there's Hamburger Friday. That's from 11 to 2 every Friday. It's the only lunch they really do. They do a Sunday brunch, but they do this lunch on Friday that is, well, it's famous. Everybody around Memphis knows about it. They take the steak, they grind it up that morning, they serve it to you fresh off the grill. You walk up to the grill master and say, medium rare or well done, whatever you like. And they put that on the plate. It's the best. That's every Friday. There are so many reasons why we love the Butcher Shop in the Agri Center.
Shelby Mast from bracketwag.com and the official bracketologist, USA Today, joins us now. Shelby, what is the hardest part every morning? I'm looking this morning. You slept in all morning this morning, 6:35 a.m. What are you doing laying around half the morning? What's the hardest part every day of putting this together? Is the last four, the next four, that stuff?
Yeah, I think the top 4 to 6 lines, they're not necessarily set, but they're a little bit easier. And as you move on down, trying to get those last few teams that I think will be in, and those that are just on the outside looking in, trying to determine which of those merits it more than the others. And if they don't play, then of course they don't get moved. But if they do play, depending on results, then I got to figure all that out.
And right now
that's the toughest.
And you're just plugging in for the one bid leagues like the Sun Belt, because UALR. Do you have Little Rock in there? You do. You have Little Rock as a 15. Obviously, if they fall to second or third in that league, you will supplant them, won't you?
Probably so. I usually go by whoever's first or whoever is ranked highest in the net. So if they're not both the same, then I'll just pick one, whoever I think has a better overall profile.
Of the American, how many have you got in this particular week?
I have 3 in right now with Houston, Cincinnati, and Wichita State. Memphis has fallen to my 6th team out.
Sixth team out.
Wow.
Yep.
That's way down there. That takes a lot to go right.
If they won all 6 games that are remaining, that would be road win at Houston, at SMU, and New Orleans, and another win against Houston and Wichita State. Would that be enough to get them in?
I think so. It'd be tough to keep them out if they won all the rest of their regular season games because of the Houston and Wichita State games.
If they lost at Houston and, say, SMU, but won the other 4, would that be enough to get them in?
That might, as long as the losses are road games to quality opponents. And we saw SMU, they've kind of been under the radar all year, but they got a big win over Houston this past weekend, and they've shot up a lot of people's seed list, mine included. They're not really that close for me yet, but they're at least still in the discussion. And so, losing to them and at Houston would not be a bad thing. Of course, they'd be great wins, but you take the wins where you can get them.
You are based in Dallas, Texas, and Saturday, by any chance, were you at Moody for SMU in Houston?
I was not. No.
I watched most of that game, and our buddy Mark Wise was doing that game. And this is the time of year, the last 3 years, in 18, 19, and 20, I want to start falling in love with Houston. And they lost Saturday, but I still loved how they defended and how fearless they are and how good their guard play, how good it can be. And I've been burned the last 2 years. Should I fall in love with Houston or not?
I'm leaning towards a no, but, I mean, I figure as soon as you don't, then they're going to have a nice run in the tournament. They're a good team for sure.
I've fallen in love with worse, Shelby.
Yeah. Hey, I'm married the second time, so there you go. But they are a good team. They have good players. They have a good coach. They have everything you need to be successful in the tournament. I mean, one of those losses a couple of years ago was a buzzer beater against Michigan.
It was.
So,
Michigan went to the final game. Yeah.
Yeah, if you lose a game like that, I mean, that's hurtful for the players more so, I think, than the fans, because the players experienced it. They had higher. I think they were a 3 seed that year, lost to 6 seed Michigan. So a fluky thing like that, I don't hold that against most teams, because that's March Madness. That's what happened.
It happens.
But they didn't lose bad this SMU game. It was 1 point, went overtime, and it was a good game.
You put out the number 1 seeds. They're San Diego State, Kansas, Baylor, and Gonzaga. You got Gonzaga in L.A., so they must be seeded over San Diego State, because you've got them in the East.
Going across the country to the Garden.
Who is your number 1?
Number 1 overall is Baylor, followed by Kansas, and then Gonzaga and San Diego State.
Boy, and if Baylor...
I don't see San Diego State moving. You think there's any chance they lose a game before the tournament?
I wouldn't think so, but their last game of the year is at Nevada, who was really good last year and still have a few players left, but the coach is gone. That's the only game I could see giving them trouble, but they've got a home game against UNLV, and that's not that good of a team this year, and a loss at home to them, which probably won't happen, but that would be a bad enough loss. It could drop them off the 1 line. I think more than likely they'd have to lose 2, but they've only got 3 regular season games left and then the tournament, so time is running out for them to falter.
Explain to me how you have Michigan State with 9 losses as a 5 seed.
Because the committee had them on the 4 line last week when they did their reveal, and that shows me that the committee is very high on them. They made mention of the fact that each year they've done this reveal, I think they said it was like 90% of the teams that have been included stayed there and were in the top 4 seed lines come Selection Sunday. And Michigan State, I did not feel should have been on that 4 line, but if the committee valued them enough to put them up there, then I had to put them up there, and they lost twice. So I had to knock them down. I want to knock them down lower, but I'm trying to emulate the committee, and I don't think the committee is going to drop them 2 lines for losses to, I believe it was Illinois and Maryland.
And you just know Baylor's going to probably first weekend, Thursday or Friday, pod into Omaha, where they'll probably send Kansas as well. They won't meet that first weekend, and then they'll go their merry way. Kansas try to get to Indianapolis, and Baylor coming through NRG in Houston. That would be room service for them.
Yeah, that would be, and I think their pod would be St. Louis. St. Louis is about 40 miles closer via air, and so I think that would be probably where they would end up. Of course, if you're number 1 overall, you get to pick. So they may pick Omaha. I don't know. I'd go based on mileage, not what I think they're going to pick.
Man, who knew St. Louis was closer than Omaha?
I didn't know.
I've got to look. I do a chart every year where I put all the teams that I think are going to be up there and go look at all the mileages up.
Isn't Baylor and Kansas playing each other this week?
This Saturday.
So if they
Saturday, yeah.
the loser, does he stay? Does that team stay on the 1 line?
Yeah, both teams will stay. It's a great win for whoever wins, and there's no shame in the loss whoever loses. If Kansas were to win, I might move them ahead of Baylor, no guarantee, but I would at least be able to justify it to myself if I did that because they will have split. But Baylor does have only 1 loss right now, and that would give them 2 if they lost, and Kansas with 3. It's going to be a tough call, and I'm wait till Saturday to figure all that out.
You have on life support, but probably dead. You have Ole Miss, Connecticut, Tulsa, teams of interest around here. What do you have to do to get off that list? What do you have to do to stay on that list and be definitely dead?
Probably 1 more loss by any of them will eliminate them. To move back up to where they're seriously considered for an at-large, you probably need to win
out
4 to 6 in a row. Yeah, I probably win out and maybe a couple of games in your conference tournament. And I haven't checked the schedules for all of them, but they have to be against good teams. You can't just win beating bad teams to get there. They've got to be solid teams that are in the field.
You must respect the Big East a bunch. If you've got Georgetown as an 11 seed and they're 15-10, and I'm pretty sure, I don't have the record in front of me, but I'm pretty sure they're below 500 in their own league.
Well, one thing about it, the committee will tell you, their league record is nowhere to be found on the team sheet. No one cares about that. So they've got enough good wins to where I feel comfortable having them in.
And Texas Tech still in last year's national semifinalists. You have them as a 7.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily sold on them. They're a good team. I see that. But their metrics don't add up. They're real high in the net, top 20, I think. But other metrics aren't as high on them. And in my own metric, they're barely around the 40 range. So I feel kind of weird having them up so high, but there's a team, it seems, every year that's way down low for me that has done enough compared to other resumes to be up a little bit higher.
These 4 seeds are pretty interesting. West Virginia, Creighton was probably the big surprise here. Penn State, which has played well here of late, and I got to see that team in the Garden lose to Ole Miss. And
in Brooklyn. It wasn't in the Garden.
I mean in Brooklyn, yeah. And then Kentucky. Penn State, what's their prognosis like? Because they got some nice pieces.
Yeah, they do. They're a good team. What hurts them and what the committee stresses every year, you got to play a tough non-conference schedule. And they're sitting at about number 330 out of 353. they were not mentioned at all as one of the top 5 seeds, or they mentioned who the top 6 seed was. They weren't mentioned in that at all. So that leads me to believe that they're sticking with there. If you play a weak non-conference, you're going to get dinged. Teams have been left out because of that. I think that will hurt them seed-wise. I hear from a lot of people saying, I don't know what I'm doing because I don't have them as high as others do. And I'm sticking to that. I think they will get dinged. We saw Louisville a few years ago get dinged from the 3 line to the 4 line because of their non-conference strength of schedule. So the committee will send a message no matter who you are. If you don't play a tough enough schedule like we want, then it's not going to help you. It's going to hurt you.
Shelby, we appreciate it as always, and we will talk to you same time next week, and there probably will be more surprises by the time the 7 days rolls around.
Yeah, things are getting tense.
He is
Thank
Shelby
you,
Maston. You can read him in USA Today, or he does a thing every week with the Daily Memphian. We'll take the time out. I'll let you know this portion of the show is brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Group. That's Matt, who you know has been around for 21 years now, all in the marketplace, really understands insurance, both personal and business, and not many do that. And now he's gotten even bigger. He's added Britt Linder to his family here, and the Linder family goes back a long way with insurance. In fact, now you're talking about 300 years of combined insurance experience. So that means you get access to a multitude of A-rated carriers, and they specialize in home and auto, umbrella, and small to mid-sized commercial accounts. Again, that combination, and you don't get this very often, personal and business. And the great thing about the Eflin Insurance Group, they've got this philosophy, and it's even broader now, where they'll sit you down and evaluate you one-on-one. That's their big deal, one-on-one. If it's personal insurance, well, they're going to ask you about your family and life insurance and health insurance and everything you need to take care of your family. If it's business, they'll forecast out 10, 15, 20 years. What products do they need to make sure you are protected? When you are done with them, you feel secure. If you'd like that feeling, call 757-2315, 901-757-2315. If you're a Tiger fan, you can remember this number, 386-GRR. That's 386-4777. Those are the numbers for the Eflin Insurance Group. Back in a minute, we're going to put a wrap on hour number 2 of this Monday edition of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
Want to get your voice heard? Hit us up on the First Bank phone line or First Bank text line.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
At Jason's Deli, you can stuff yourself full of great deli food that's healthy, fresh, and best of all, it's not expensive. Jason's Deli is all about choice. Whether you're looking for a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids' meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build-your-own selections, Jason's Deli has you covered. And they only use fresh, wholesome ingredients. Choose from the club and specialty sandwiches, paninis, wraps, soups, salads, pastas, and much more. I love the cleanliness in the restaurant, the hospitality, and of course the cost. They have a huge salad bar and great soups, including Southwest chicken chili, fire roasted tortilla, organic vegetable, tomato basil, and many, many more. And if you're planning an event, their catering department is fantastic and can handle any size party. Go check out Jason's Deli's 4 locations. On Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, that's my favorite, on Germantown Parkway in Cordova, at Poplar and Highland, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
Imagine for a moment the perfect food, just what you're craving, made hot, fresh, and fast. And you're imagining Sunrise on Jefferson. Whether you're going to settle in for a nice leisurely breakfast or lunch, or you're going to swing by for the best takeout in Memphis, the ideal meal is always waiting for you at Sunrise. Maybe you're craving a perfect breakfast. That's at Sunrise. Or a delicious burger. That's at Sunrise, too. No matter what it is you're craving, I guarantee it's on the menu at Sunrise, just waiting for you to order it.
It's February. Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Are you considering replacing your air conditioning system this spring? Conway Services and Carrier have teamed up to make now the perfect time to replace that old energy-guzzling system. February is one of our slowest months of the year. Our warehouse is full and our crews are slow. So to spark business during these slow winter months, Conway Services is giving away Carrier 80% gas furnaces absolutely free with the purchase of a standard Carrier air conditioning system. That's right, purchase a Carrier air conditioning system in the month of February and get the gas furnace for free. If that's not enough, we'll include an April air cleaner, a 10-year parts warranty, and a free Nest thermostat. Plus 12 months interest free. See why I call it February? And you know with Conway Services, you'll be receiving our award-winning service every time. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company. And the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old heating and air conditioning system will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
We hope everybody had a great Valentine's, and the surefire way to do that is having one of those Gould gift cards. If you were a little late or she or he really liked it, go take care of that loved one with another Gould's gift card. It makes for the perfect gift for that someone special. 12 great locations in our area. Gould's, it's never far away from downtown on Main Street to out east, one at all points in between, the Gould's Academy in Park Place, and one in Olive Branch, one in Overton Square, part of the Renaissance of the Square. Massage, body treatments, facials, or just a haircut. Superior spa services, salon services, and a great reputation built over 88 years of exemplary service. Mr. Sam Gould opened a barbershop in 1932, and the powerhouse was born. Continues today as a family affair with all the family pitching in with that upscale ambiance and superior customer service, and the customer always being primary. All the Gould's employees, over 450 to serve your every need. All the great locations and the gift card, the gift you cannot go wrong with for that anniversary, birthday, wedding, holiday. You're in big trouble and you need to be out of trouble. Get that Gould's gift card. It makes the perfect gift for that someone special. Follow them on Twitter at Gould Salons or their website, gouldsalons.com. And for me, it was All-Star Weekend in Chicago. Well done from the beginning with all the contests to all the pageantry, the tributes, the commemoration, the memorialization of Kobe Bryant. It was all so very well done. And for the Grizzlies to have people involved. And going forward, they're going to be there on Sunday afternoon.
I agree.
We're going to have a Grizzly for a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple in the game.
Maybe, absolutely. Maybe three. Who knows?
Who knows?
They really represented themselves.
And they could be opponents in the All-Star game with the draft process.
Yeah. They could very well be if not only that, but or it could be USA
the international
versus international. We'll have to wait and see about that. For me today, the Gould style is speed, Mr. Norsworthy. Yesterday, rain.
You know I don't drive fast. Look, I got busted for 60 and a 55. You think I drive fast after that? No speeding for me.
I don't know how that could happen to you. You're only going 5. You know, if it was me, it would have been faster than 5.
That's how you
and
roll,
I would have been
Dave.
rightly busted.
But you know people, too. You'd got the ticket fixed on the spot, wouldn't you?
No, I would not have. That is not the case.
No fast driver.
I probably would have tried to go fight it, but I would have lost. No, this is speed. Yesterday, you know, the Daytona 500, which it's the only league or sport where the very first game of the year is the Super Bowl, not the last.
Well, they're kind of the Mark Twain. He said you should be born 87 and work backwards.
Yeah.
They kind of.
Well, there was a movie premise that Brad Pitt did. What was that?
Think how smart we'd be.
Benjamin Button.
Benjamin Button. Yeah, that was a great movie.
Is that what the premise was of that?
Yeah.
I never saw it.
I never saw it.
But I know what it's about.
Yeah. Guy started old and then got young. It was good.
Boy, we'd do it a lot different, wouldn't we?
We would. You know, who said Youth is wasted on the young. Somebody did. They were right on the money with that. Here's what's going on at Daytona right now. So they had a restart today. Denny Hamlin in
the FedEx car.
FedEx car.
Yes, sir.
He's got the
defending
lead.
champion. I picked him last year. Look at the good luck I brought him.
Well, we didn't do picks this year.
I forgot Friday. I'm sorry.
We are 130 out of 200 laps. 130 out of 200. Behind by 0.13 of a second, just getting there. Because I looked.
Is that less than a blink of an eye? 0.13 of a second.
Kyle Busch in the Toyota car, and then Ricky Stenhouse, who was just
Olive Branch best.
He was second just moments ago. He's now 0.16 of a second behind. He's in the Chevrolet. The young man from, was it Olive Branch?
Olive Branch, yeah.
Yeah, he is third. He was number one on the grid to start this thing, so he slipped. Now he's 3.
How's front row Joe Nemechek doing? Is he in it? Does he still race?
Not that I see. I don't see him.
I don't think he does.
Anyway, we're 130 into 200.
Would you know Kyle Busch if he walked in this door?
No.
Would you, Drew?
Does he have his NASCAR suit on?
Oh, yeah, then we know him. Sure.
Would we?
Yeah, it says,
if he had a suit on.
It says Busch on the cover.
I don't want to go anywhere that requires a fire retardant suit.
You know, I used to really enjoy, seriously, I enjoyed the Dickens when we used to have the NHRA here and they have the NASCAR truck, because those guys, those were athletes that had great stories to tell, and they loved telling them. No, John Force or his daughter, you ever see them turn down an interview
Never.
or be arrogant or anything? They were grateful to be able to spread the message
I didn't know
of
who
their
John
sport.
Force was one day and asked him if he had grabbed me a Coke.
No way.
I didn't know
and
who
he probably
and
did
he
it.
did. And he did. And then we had him on the next segment. I didn't know who he was.
Oh, my gosh. That is pitiful. How could you not know John Force?
Well, he looked official, and he asked me, he said, how you doing? I said, I'm doing great. He said, anything I can do for you? I said, yeah, could you grab me a Coke? I thought he was part of the team there. And he goes over and comes back with one.
Oh, my gosh. How did you feel when you found out?
2 segments later,
he's a
not very
star?
good.
Did you say anything to him?
Thank you.
After you found out who he was, did you say, I'm sorry, I didn't really understand?
I didn't want to make it worse.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. We got to remind everybody, we got something coming. It's really in a couple of weeks. This brand new exhibit that's going to take place at the Pink Palace Museum. It's the opening of the Tiger Hoops exhibit. You come to the Pink Palace, which is such a great place to go. It really is. And you'll experience 100-plus years of Tigers men and women's basketball from the beginnings as the West Tennessee State Normal School all the way to the present. You don't want to miss it. It's really going to be special. That's the Tiger Hoops exhibit at the Pink Palace. It opens up on March the 7th.
You know, revisiting that story, I do think he was irritated, and he kind of snappily or snapped at me and said, who are you? I said, I'm the one, the only boat will ocean. Who the heck you think I am?
I bet you did. That would be. No wonder he was never friendly to me. No. We take a time out. We are back. We will talk with a friend, Wayne Norman, longtime analyst of UConn basketball, guy who worked with Marty Glickman. Man, he goes back a long way. He's next on Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
First Bank is here to help you, whether you're a business looking for a loan to expand or refinance an existing one, a homeowner looking for a mortgage or home equity line, a consumer wanting to finance your dream car, or wanting a competitive rate on your CD deposits. Let First Bank try to handle your banking needs. Stop into one of First Bank's 3 local branches today, 6482 Poplar Avenue just east of International Paper, 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase, and 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or check them out online at firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. Can anyone explain to me why anyone would care how I measure your roof? We have all heard about measuring your roof from outer space. Well, to be honest, there are aerial pictures that are taken every 4 years that can be used to measure a building, but it's not from outer space. Besides, no one, and I mean no one, can tell you what's wrong with your roof or even if you need one by using pictures that might be 4 years old. If you would rather do business with a family-owned and operated business with a lifelong tie to Memphis that refuses to mislead or use gimmicks, please give me a call. Best products, best warranties, and the best customer service we know how to provide. Fiveash Roofing, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Memphis Tigers home team. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5 Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
I'm a big fan of Town Village, and there is always something to do year-round. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $2,300. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, daily check-in, monthly coffee club, themed dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also keep up to date with everything going on by keeping up with Sports 56 on social media. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch for information on breaking news, chances to win prizes, and video of all the shows. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Stay in touch with Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 on social media. We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sportstime on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sportstime is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back in hour number 3 of the program. After the Tigers fall to UConn, we got a guy who really knows UConn basketball. He's only been involved for about 40 years with the program. That would be Wayne Norman. And if I read this thing correctly today, he works for a radio station, WILI, which is very close to WOLO. That would have been cooler. But WILI, I think he's been at that same station for 50 years. We'll find out.
That is phenomenal.
In a minute.
Mr. UConn Husky basketball, Mr. Wayne Norman, with us after I tell you about the sponsor of this hour, DeSoto Auto Sales. Head down to Goodman Road, 5704 Goodman Road to DeSoto Auto Sales. All the cars there have been test driven. All have been checked out head to toe. Unlimited inventory and spotlessly detailed. Every make, every model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll go out and find it for you. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. You walk in, you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales, but they know we're living in a world today that time matters, and they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience, and they care about your time. You walk in within 45 minutes, test drive your car, credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're gone. You can do it on your lunch hour. You can do it immediately after work. Check out the referrals at DeSotoAutoSales.com, 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down to Goodman Road in DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
Wayne Norman's been doing the broadcasts of the UConn Huskies for 40 years.
Since Chuck Alexinas was a star.
Is that true? Wayne was
That's right.
Was he a
Chuck
star then?
Alexinas, Mike McKay, Corny Thompson, all those guys back in the days.
Now,
but you're up by 6 months though. I got 49 and a half at the same radio station.
We're going to count
longest continuously running active morning show in the state.
Phenomenal.
In Hartford, they had a guy named Bob Steele. He did it 55. I don't know if I'm going to get to 55 or not.
Wow.
I'm just trucking along.
Wayne, you know the key to getting to 55, don't you?
Doing 54?
Get to 54 and be real damn careful.
I will say this. We had a gentleman that was both a mentor to both Brett and I, who was the afternoon sports columnist and invented sports radio in Memphis. His name is George Lapidus, and he passed away a couple of years ago. But how long was his show continuous for, Brett? Do you
remember?
About
46.
Yeah, it was 46 at the time, and the only one that was an older, longer-running entity No, because Pete Franklin had already gone. The only older running show at that point was Paul Harvey. So I don't know how long Paul Harvey went or how long his run was. But so this
you were to be congratulated.
WILI, is it in the same place it always was?
No, they moved around. I've been in 2 buildings, but there was a 3rd building before that. But we're right in the middle of downtown, and the city is about 6 miles down the road from Yukon, so it's a perfect gig for me. It's right in my backyard. But the city is called Willimantic. It's an Indian word based on a term for the river. We're right on a nice river. There's kayaking on it, and it's an Indian word for swift running water. So the city is Willimantic, and the call letters WILI or more from that.
Huh? Is that water?
I mean,
is
if
that water
I were
running?
them, I change it to Wolo, man.
There you go. Is the water running at this time of year, or does it freeze?
Yeah, it's been you kind of saw a little bit of it when you were up here because it's been a very mild winter. We had Saturday morning was in the single numbers, but today was in the 40s. It's been very mild in January and February, and you know what? For a guy I'm a California guy. I'm 5th generation Californian. I don't like snow.
Wow.
I've loved this winter. Plus, I'm a big power walking guy. I go out on the rail trails around here, do 3, 4, 5 miles at a time, and there are times this winter that I've been going out in shorts and a T-shirt.
That is
wow.
That is to be commended. Wayne, there was a time where most AM radio stations that had, any past, like here at WHBQ, the call letters stood for something. WHBQ here stood for We Have Better Quartets. And that was a theme around the country.
WGN in Chicago,
sure, world's
greatest newspaper for the Tribune.
Yeah,
I like it. All I got is just it's like the abbreviation for the city, and it works. And AM radio is in some cases kind of fading. I'm sorry to say, but like a lot of stations, the FCC has granted this thing called LPM, low power FMs.
Yeah,
and we've got one of those too. So what I do in the morning on which has been for 60 plus years at the radio station on AM. You can now pick us up on FM, which is good for a couple reasons, including the younger generation who doesn't even know what AM is.
Is it always basketball season in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, that began 30 years ago. In fact, they celebrated that at Gamble Pavilion a week ago yesterday, when they brought back the 1990 team. That was Jim Calhoun's first NCAA team, and that team was literally 2.6 seconds away from the Final Four. They're playing Duke in the Elite Eight, and Tate George, who now, by the way, is doing time, but Tate George almost had a steal on the sideline. If he hangs onto that ball, UConn wins it and goes to the Final Four. I'm not sure anybody that year would have beaten UNLV, but still, given the fact that UConn was really rebuilding after the 80s, which weren't very good for them, they did win the NIT in '88 in Calhoun's second year, which is pretty remarkable. But that's how close they came. Then in the 90s, they got to the Elite Eight 4 times. Before they finally won it. They beat Gonzaga in 1999, and then they went on to win the NCAA tournament in '99 with a guy named Richard Hamilton. Man, was he smooth. He ran those little curl cuts. He is a three-point shooter, but he was a deadly 15-foot shooter. He'd come around a pick, make the curl cut, and then a guy like a Ricky Moore, Khalid El-Amin would find him, and he just light you up.
I love Khalid
El-Amin. Averaged 24 points a game in the NCAA's in '99.
Wayne, and we had a guest earlier talking about experience on teams. I think for a team like the Memphis Tigers going into next year, to get a guy like a Khalid El-Amin, kind of an old man basketball type, every team could use those. Memphis doesn't have that. UConn kind of has that in Vital.
Oh, he's been terrific, and he's got the combination of numbers. You saw the way he rebounded yesterday, 9 rebounds. You saw the way he shoots free throws. And I just saw a thing on Twitter this afternoon that said that the combination of all those key stats from shooting and rebounding and all that he's done, only one other player in UConn history has done that, Scott Burrell, who, by the way, Scott Burrell was the first UConn player to win an NBA championship ring. He won it with Chicago. He was on that 1990 team. He was back last week for the reunion they had for the team 30 years ago. That was the first team to play at Gamble Pavilion.
Where would you rate in all that mix of great players? And let's face it, you got Kemba Walker, you got Napier, you got all these great guys. Where would you put Rudy Gay, who of course has a great deal of Memphis connection now?
Absolutely. Played with the Grizzlies. I know that. He only played 2 years here, and and he played with some pretty good players here. I would put him probably in the top 10. I wouldn't put him in the top 3 because there's some pretty good guys, including Hamilton, that would be on that list. But he did a lot of things. He was very talented playing here. His team did, however, in 2005, lose a game to North Carolina State that they shouldn't have lost. They lost in a buzzer beater by Julius Hodge. But, yeah, it was great to see Rudy. He's a guy that's had his number, not number retired. Only one player has had that. That's Ray Allen. But he's been honored in what they call the Huskies of Honor, which is like that special unit of players have their numbers hung up on the rafters at Gamble Pavilion.
Danny Hurley really needed that one yesterday, didn't he?
Oh, absolutely, and there was so many good things that happened for UConn yesterday to compensate for what happened to a Cook. And just moments ago, the news came out on what happened to the freshman forward, and they say he suffered a complete rupture of his left Achilles tendon during yesterday's game against Memphis. He will not be able to return to action for the remainder of the season. We kind of suspected that, and they'll do surgery on that in the next day or two. But let me tell you what you're missing with him, and I mentioned this on our broadcast yesterday, that frequently during the course of the season, Coach Hurley would say he has been our best player. Now, in the last couple of weeks, that's kind of changed over to James Bouknight. He has really emerged. He's been a take-over-a-game kind of guy, as he did yesterday. If you notice, it was tied at 50 yesterday, and then UConn goes on an 8-2 run, and guess who scored 6 of them? That was Bouknight. And I thought there was an interesting comparison between the 2 UConn-Memphis games this year. Down there, on February the 1st, UConn with a 1-point lead with 3.5 to go. Memphis goes on a 15-7 game-ending run. I think they had 12 straight free throws, whatever the case was. Right. This game, it's tied 50-50 with 3.5 to go. And UConn makes the plays they couldn't make. And again, it's James Bouknight. But on the course of the overall season, though, Cook was not a huge scorer, not a huge rebounder, averaged 6 points, 5.5 rebounds a game, but his 2.64 block shots per game and 66 total blocks led the conference and currently are in the top 20 in the nation. So there's a rim protector that we've lost for the rest of the season. So Hurley said he's the best player on the team for about the first 2/3 of the year.
I hope he's able to come back. Those ruptured total Achilles jobs,
complete rupture of his left Achilles tendon. We've had some experience with that. Nikisha Sales for the women's team, and just last year, Breanna Stewart, who won 4 championships in 4 years with the UConn women. She was playing overseas, just made a move for a jump shot, and she came down on it. And they've been out about a year. When you think about the calendar right now, here we are on February 17th. Let's say a Cook does come back in a year. You're going to bring him back for like the final couple of weeks of the season?
No, you're not.
I would think he's probably done, in my non-medical background, I would think he's probably out for all of next year as well. And he was a centerpiece on what Dan Hurley is building here at UConn. Because here's the guy that, again, is the rim protector, and he had been in a slump. I really feel that he'd hit the wall as a freshman. His numbers were down. He was 4 of his last 18. He wasn't making threes, he was making early in the year, but it doesn't matter now. What I thought was huge in yesterday's game was Isaiah Whaley. Isaiah Whaley's been a backup forward, backup center. When Josh Carlton gets in some foul trouble, they'll bring him in. And when a Cook needs a blow, they'll bring him in too. Well, a minute of the game, a Cook goes down, and Whaley came in. Whaley played a team-high 35 minutes yesterday, and I thought his defense on Achua was spectacular. Achua scored those 7 straight Memphis points, and then at 12:27 remaining in the first half, he didn't score again in the first half. At about the 12.5 minutes of the second half, he scored again. He went nearly 20 minutes without scoring. Yes, he exceeded his season average in points with 16. He got a couple of offensive rebounds down the stretch, but I thought for large portions, the Memphis leading scorer and rebounder was awfully quiet yesterday, and that was because of the play of the guy that came in for a Cook, and that's Isaiah Whaley. Christian Vitale told us on our postgame show after the game, we don't win that game without Isaiah Whaley.
Well, the bottom line, correct me if I'm wrong, Whaley had 6 blocks in that game. And by the way,
the second half.
All in the second half. He actually hurt Memphis in Memphis. He seems to have Memphis's number. Well, he won't have Memphis's number maybe anymore because we know on paper this series is over. UConn's going to the Big East. But there are rumblings that maybe part of the buyout between the league and UConn consists of some basketball and football games down the road, home and homes. I don't know if that is accurate or not, but I've heard that, and I've heard because of Penny's relationship with Danny Hurley that Memphis would be a prime contender to be one of those teams that would keep a home-and-home series with you guys. If you look at these games, the series is now tied, 8-8, I think, if you go back in time. And I know every game or the margin of victory in all the games played in the state of Connecticut now is 3.1 something. So all the games are close. What are you hearing, Wayne, about this continuation?
One thing, one of the games here in Hartford a couple of years ago, I believe went double overtime with UConn and Memphis. The only things I've heard about that are things I've heard from Memphis people. The people here are not talking about it. You and I both talked to Coach Penny Hardaway about that before yesterday's game. And let me just take a detour here and tell you that I love Penny Hardaway. What a great guy you've got there as a coach. The accessibility that he had. We all sat around, you and I and Seth Greenberg sat around before the game. I don't have that kind of access to most opposing coaches in this league. Even when I do, I get my 3 minutes for the pregame interview and I'm gone. We sat around there for, it seemed like 15 or 20 minutes, and he was such a great guy. I'm really impressed with him, and I hope he does very well at Memphis. But as far as continuing the series, I would say this, though, that you got UConn, USF, Cincinnati, teams that even date back to the Big East that are now in the American Conference. I think with UConn, the biggest rival has been Cincinnati, even though Cincinnati's controlled that series in the last couple of years. I think right behind it, though, is UConn-Memphis. I love this rivalry, and from a personal standpoint, I love your city. I want to go back there. You guys got so much cool stuff in that city that I was thinking about that when we were down there on February 1st. I said, man, I hope this isn't the last time we play down here because, forget the basketball. The city's awesome. But, yes, the rivalry, I want to keep that going. I don't think it's quite as strong in football as it is in basketball, but the basketball thing, I hope they find a way to keep it going for a long time, and I hope Penny and Dan work it out.
And Shabazz Napier and Boatwright got on a roll, launched here, and rode it all the way to a championship for UConn in 2014.
Yeah, and Shabazz was there yesterday. He was sitting behind the UConn bench, as was Jalen Adams, guy that was playing up until last year for UConn, a guy that kind of, had some issues with Dan Hurley over the course of time, but he's still one of the top 20 scorers in UConn history. So, yeah, and I remember a game down there, I want to say 2014, DeAndre Daniels, who was a member of that 2014 championship team, he had a huge game down there to beat the Tigers. So, yeah, you've got great players. We got great players. We're building the program. We're not quite there yet, but obviously the Cook injury is a big setback. One thing that's good from the UConn standpoint, schedule-wise, we have only got one team with a winning record in conference play for the rest of the regular season. That's Houston, and that'll be a home game. Other than that, we get a lot of the teams that are in the lower half of the standings, Central Florida, East Carolina, Tulane. We got USF and Temple the next week. So the schedule's favorable considering the fact that we've now lost two of our top forwards. Tyler Polley was our best three-point shooter. He's been out now for 10 games. He's done for the year. He blew his knee out. He was there yesterday on crutches. So that limits you now to just 8 scholarship players, and that's going to be tough to put more wins on the rest of the season.
Wouldn't you, if you look at this whole league, wouldn't you say decent teams at the top, no great team whatsoever, and that the tournament in Fort Worth, which is basically rather neutral, is really up for grabs? I guess if we're going to have to say a team that, or at least I do, I think the team going into that is going to be Houston. I think they're the team that has stayed healthy. They've got the most talent. They got about 7 or 8 guys that are all really pretty good players. They would be the favorite, but I think it's wide open. What do you?
I totally agree with the Houston thing. I know right now in the league standings, Cincinnati is tied with Houston for first place. I don't think Cincinnati is what it was under Mick Cronin, but you know what? They've got Jaron Cumberland, and I'll tell you what, when the game's on the line, he's going to try to make the plays. He often does. He played here 8 days ago, and they gave it to him with 2.7 seconds left, and he couldn't get a shot off. Why? Because of the defense of Christian Vitale. I think Cincinnati's got some growing to do, but I do feel Houston's the best. I don't know how Tulsa's doing it. They're doing it with bells and whistles. They got that crazy 3-2 zone they play, and people can't shoot over that. Look what they did in Memphis, 80-40.
We know.
Boy, did that thing send rattlings around the league. So, but then when we went to Tulsa and we beat them out there, I don't think SMU is that strong. I do sort of fear Wichita State. And then the bottom half of the league, I can't see anybody in that lower echelon getting to the championship game of the conference tournament. I think the top 5 are going to be the ones that dominate, but don't think that the brackets are going to hold up with the favorites winning every game. I really don't think UConn can make a run because of the loss of Pauly and a Cook. But again, up at the top of the league, I don't know who's going to beat Houston. I think Houston's got the depth. I think they're very good.
I tend to agree, but I don't know. We'll see a little bit more. Memphis has them on Saturday, so we'll get a little better feel for it. Wayne, always wonderful chatting with you. We appreciate it, and I'll see you in Fort Worth.
Give me a call anytime. Next time I'll spell Willimantic.
We'll need it.
we got a bridge over that river that's got 4 brass Volkswagen-sized frogs on it. It's a tourist attraction.
Wow.
So what I want you to come here next year. I want the series to continue, and then you check out our frog bridge.
Wayne, do you do the football games?
I do.
Yeah, he
done
does.
That for 40. Done that since 1979.
I'll see you in Oxford next year when you come down to play Ole Miss in 2020.
That's a deal.
You got it.
You know, I before we go, we got like 2 minutes, so let me do this. I got to ask you about your broadcast because we talked about going back 50 years. You actually were incredibly fortunate to work with Marty Glickman. You got to tell me what that was like.
First 5 years of my full-time gig with the network, 81 to 86. And let me tell you this, that again, I'm a fifth-generation Californian. When I grew up in Hollywood and then Glendale, for me it's Vin Scully, it's Chick Hearn and those guys. My dad got promoted with Westinghouse in 65. We come to Fairfield County, and I'm listening. I'm hearing the Giants and the Jets, and I'm hearing some guy doing play-by-play, but there's no Wikipedia back then. You can't look up to see about the legacy of Marty Glickman, both at Syracuse, both in sportscasting, and also the
Olympics.
The whole Olympic thing with Hitler, and that's a story. If your listeners know what we're talking about, you got to look it up. It's been portrayed in movies about Marty and the like, and Jesse Owens, and I didn't know that story. So we're working together for the first time, and as we moved along through the football and the basketball seasons, I'm beginning to hear some of these stories, and I knew the guy was famous, but I didn't know all these other stories, and the more I heard, it's like, wow. And I learned so much from him as a broadcaster. One thing he would always talk about was, he said, if you feel a momentum switch in the game, say it on the air. You're there. The listener isn't. Let them know what that feels like in the building. Well, trust me, we talked about it a lot yesterday during the game, including the emotion of the team when a Cook went down, and then the big plays they made down the stretch to finally pull away and win that game. Marty was incredible to work with for 5 years. And then, in the last part of the 5th year, he got very sick. He was hospitalized, and a guy named Joe D'Ambrosio started to fill in for him. And that's when Joe got his big break. And, Wolo, you know Joe very well. He was my partner for nearly 30 years doing the games, and now I'm working with Mike Crispino. But that all began for me with this legendary name, Marty Glickman.
Wow. So really the guys you've worked mostly with, Glickman and Joey D, that's pretty good, Wayne. You've got a pretty good partnership there.
Yeah, and I love doing it. It's a labor of love, just like it is with you. And, I want to do it, at least 40 more years.
There you go. So. Keep on trucking, Wayne. Thank you, my
friend.
All
right. When I come down there next time, I want to go to DeSoto and buy a car.
You got it. Yeah, we'll take care of you. We'll take care of you in the fall when you come to Oxford. Come on.
I will do that.
You got it, Wayne. Thank you.
And I'll drive it home. Forget that charter stuff.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go.
Especially that late at night. Thank you,
Great
Wayne.
talking to you guys.
You got
it. Take care. Wayne Norman from WILI Radio. 50 years in a little town outside of Stores. This portion of the show brought to you by the commissary. It's today.
Happy birthday in
1
Collierville.
1 year old at Collierville. How many years old in Germantown?
30.
At least 30.
Close to 40.
Yeah. I don't remember not being there. In that little quaint section with the parking lot that's got a telephone pole in it, and still people flock because the barbecue is so good. And guess what? They've tripled the size at the new one in Collierville, right there at Poplar and Houston Levy Road. It's got a drive-through. It's got plenty of space. It's got a patio. It's got TVs all over the place.
NCAA tournament time, be watching the games outside.
Exactly, with a beer in hand and the best barbecue to go, whether it's ribs, whether you like deviled eggs, whether it's that, banana pudding, but you're crazy about the lemon icebox pie, whatever it may be.
Dave, the salads. Oh, by the way, the salads there are so good.
They have salads there?
They do.
I'll be darned. They got it all. Go see Walker Taylor. Go see everybody. Either place, but you'll love the new place. I promise. Get in and out with drive-thru if you want to take stuff home tonight. That's the commissary, Germantown and Collierville. We're back in a minute. We'll be joined momentarily by Carter Blackburn from CBS Sports. He's next on Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston and CJ Hertz. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Hey everybody, love is in the air and no one loves their customers more than our friends at All Star Chevrolet. Because if you would love to be in a new Chevy right now, Olive Branch is where you want to be. They have all the deals you'll love, like new 2020 Silverados with 0 for 72, plus thousands in customer cash. 0 for 72 with a new 2020 Equinox as well, plus thousands in cash when you finance with GM. And not to brag, Chevy just keeps getting more awards, and the awards mean something, people. Like the new Corvette Stingray 2020 North American Car of the Year. So head to Olive Branch and drive a new All-Star Chevrolet today. Drive them all. Remember, not the Pike, not Mount Moriah, not South Haven or Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. And everybody at All-Star Chevy has one job: to make sure you get a better deal that's more fun and in record time. So if you'd love to have a new Chevy right now, maybe a new Silverado, find new roads to All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch or go to allstarautogroup.com.
Your Memphis Tigers football program completed the greatest season in program history with 12 wins, a conference championship, and a berth in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl. Season tickets for the 2020 season are on sale now and start at just $100 when you buy 4 in the family fun zone, or $150 for end zone seating. Get your season tickets by May 15th and receive a free gift, concessions deals, exclusive access to regular season and postseason tickets, and more. Get your season tickets today at GoTigersGo.com or call 901-678-2331. Memphis Tigers football.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back in, right in the middle of our final hour, right in the middle of February, which, really is February. It's one of the slowest months for Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric, but they make it where it gets a little bit more movement going. The warehouse is full, the crews are slow. What does John do to spark business during these slow winter months? He gives away free 80% Carrier gas furnaces. Free if you buy a standard Carrier air conditioning system. That's right. You get the air conditioning system in the month of February. You buy that, they give you the gas furnace for free. And if that's not enough, he's going to throw in for free an April air cleaner. For free, a 10-year parts warranty. A free Nest thermostat. Plus 12 months interest. Well, you got it. Free. And you're going to get the award-winning service every time. If you do business with Conway, just make the call, 384-3511. Enjoy February with Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric.
Carter Blackburn with CBS coming up in about 2 minutes. Dave, the first day of the AAC tournament in Fort Worth, games will begin at noon Central Time in the 8-9 game. The Tigers aren't going to be in either one of those spots. Then the 2 o'clock, really 2:20 game, will be 5-12. That's probably the rosiest spot for the Tigers right now. The 5?
Possibly. If
they won't be 12.
No.
So really kind of one shot to play in the afternoon. The first game of the night session on the first day, there will be a test about this later. The first game of the night session of the first day will be at 7 Central, not in the 6 o'clock window, but at 7, and that will be the 7 versus 10. There's a doomsday scenario being the 7. Then what seems like most likely, the 6 seed, that game, you better take a nap that afternoon. It might not tip till about 9:30.
Yeah. Well,
6 versus 11.
Let's not go crazy yet, okay? Memphis is the 6th seed today, right, with 6 games to go. They play Wichita State, which is 1 game in front of them, and they play SMU, which is 2 games in front of them. I think SMU's got a fairly difficult schedule the rest of the way. Memphis can get to 4.
SMU's really well coached.
That is funny because there are people in Dallas that don't feel that way.
I saw it here in person, and I saw it on TV Saturday to pull that out in overtime over Houston. But do you see?
I think he's a good coach.
Do you think the Tigers can get to 4 and get to a Thursday bye?
I do. I think it's possible.
Ooh.
Just depends on what other people do.
I don't.
Wichita State's going the other way. If you play SMU, you just have to win all your home games and hope you. I mean, if you beat SMU, I think you're in a good spot to do it.
Carter Blackburn coming up momentarily. After I tell you about All-Star Chevrolet, nobody love their customers more than our friends at All-Star Chevrolet. If you could love a new Chevy right now, Olive Branch is where you want to be. All the deals that you'll love. New 2020 Silverados with 0 for 72 months financing, plus thousands in customers' cash. Thousands. 0 for 72 with the new 2020 Equinox as well, plus thousands in cash when you finance with GM. Chevy keeps getting the awards, and awards mean a lot, like the new Corvette Stingray 2020 North American Car of the Year. Head to Olive Branch and drive a new All-Star Chevy today. Drive them all. Remember, not the Pike, not Mount Moriah, not South Haven or Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. Everybody at All-Star Chevy, they've got one job. Make sure you get a better deal, have more fun, and do it in record time. If you could love a new Chevy right now, maybe a new Silverado, find new roads to All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch or go to allstarautogroup.com today.
You know how people scour internets and trying to find everything they can on all this recruiting stuff. There's a great kid down in the state of Texas named Greg Brown. And just today, my son called me, so excited, because there's 100% lean in a couple of places, 93% at another, that Greg Brown is going to come to Memphis. In Austin, is where Carter Blackburn, our friend from CBS, is headquartered. And so let me ask you, what are you hearing about this big kid, which everybody wants? He was originally going to go to Texas. It hasn't worked out so good there in Austin lately. They're down to 14-11, and Shaka Smart may be in trouble.
Yeah.
What are you hearing with all this, Carter Blackburn? How are you?
I am wonderful, and this isn't quite the guy on BBC who has his kid walk in the middle of the Skype interview, but I am joined tonight by Elizabeth Blackburn, who is an expert more on Baby Shark than basketball. But she's really getting up to speed on all the competitive sports, not just shark attacks.
Okay. I hear her in the background now. I didn't hear her quite at the very beginning. I hope you can hear us. So give us your sense of what's going on with Texas, because I know that's your hometown. And do you know anything at all about that young man, Greg Brown?
No, I do not. I don't. So I have to plead. I have to plead the fifth on that. I mean, it's. I live in Austin and interact with the Longhorns a lot. It's been several years since I've been regularly around the program. So as everyone asks me about Texas basketball, I'm kind of like everybody else, trying to figure out what's going on with the Longhorns.
What is your broadcast schedule this week? Where would your travels take you?
Well, I actually have a trip to one of my favorite cities for a Wednesday night matchup. It's in the American Athletic Conference, and it's at Memphis, Tennessee.
Wow, you're
as
coming
the
here.
Memphis Tigers take on the ECU Pirates, the dangerous ECU Pirates, putting a scare into the Cincinnati Bearcats. Yeah, so I'm headed to the Bluff City, and on Tuesday later in the evening. But then it'll be the Pete Gillen Road Show rolls on to Memphis, and it always feels good to be back in Memphis. I've
been trying to take you and Coach to dinner forever. What time are you guys coming in on Tuesday night?
I think I'm in 7-ish.
Well, we can hold off. Is Pete going to be in town at that point?
I will. I tell you what. I will first thing we get done here, I will confer with my broadcast and life partner. And by the way, I'm looking at a Pete Gillen bobblehead doll in my.
You've got a cutout in your office. Yeah, you've got a cutout
right
Coach
now.
Gillen.
I have Jeff Tweedy, the lead singer of Wilco bobblehead, and Pete Gillen bobblehead, and it's very, very popular, especially with my little girls. They love the Coach Gillen bobblehead, and then I have a framed Pete Gillen greatest quotes from his Xavier tenure, which was a wedding gift from Tom Hart. That's also in the home office, so you can see, and then in my spare time, I'm planning our Cape Cod vacation, in which we'll overlap and go to baseball games with Pete Gillen and Jenny Gillen. So you can see Pete surrounds you, which is great.
What do you see in the Tigers preparing for Wednesday night's game, and what do you see in the American Athletic Conference as you've covered it this year?
I see exactly the one and the same, that there was supposed to be a great elite team in the American, and that team was supposed to be the Memphis Tigers. And now in February, it feels like hanging on for a dear life as far as a winning basketball team goes. I mean, that's how's that evaluation square with what you guys see on a daily basis?
I think it's on the money, and we were just talking to the analyst Wayne Norman for UConn, and I think the consensus is that probably the best team that stayed healthy and's got a bunch of great athletes is Kelvin Sampson's Cougars in Houston.
Yeah. It is a remarkable coaching job, and I mean I saw that team, I guess their first or second game, because they don't even beat by BYU, so I saw them Rice. Avery Johnson and I did Houston versus Rice, which was a blast. But it was just like, boy, this team, they just lost they lost so much. They looked lost. And like, boy, Coach Sampson really has his work cut out for him this year. And guess what? He was up to the task, because when they got hot, when they started rolling, I mean, the run that they got on December and January, and I know like just about everybody in college basketball in February, it's like pump the brakes. You know, Miles Powell and Seton Hall was cutting down the nets, according to everybody a week and a half ago.
Right.
But yet again, you don't hang banners in February. But that when that Houston team got on a run, it was yet another reminder, as if you needed it. But like, boy, this guy can really build a team and can really craft a team. I think is probably the way you put it this year, because I mean, he was searching for answers in November, like most people are searching for answers in February, and put it together. So I'm yet again impressed at his coaching acumen.
I think I saw you do a game at the Kennel in Spokane. Did you do a Gonzaga game this year?
Actually, we had Gonzaga on the road. It was Gonzaga at Santa Clara. So I haven't made it to the Kennel yet this year, but got to look at Gonzaga, and it was Gonzaga on a Thursday and San Diego State on a Saturday. So that was an interesting perspective, as we accurately predicted that for the rest of the year, we and everybody else around college basketball is going to be talking about the one seed in the West and Gonzaga versus San Diego State. So we saw them both in 3 nights, and I think I know for a fact both of those teams are pleasantly surprised at where they are right now versus where they thought they would be at the beginning of the season. Even Gonzaga, I mean, you know, and I mean, tucked away in Spokane, Washington, on the West Coast, and everyone, you know, kind of turns the page to Gonzaga in March usually, maybe after they play a couple, you know, huge non-conference games at the beginning of the year. But all it is to say, they did not think that this would be the team that would extend any kind of Sweet 16 run or West Coast Conference domination. You know, they really thought, and I say they kind of got this secondhand from a couple of former players, was like, oh, this bunch is going to be the one that doesn't get it done. And guess what? They're getting it done. Took it all the way to number 1 and 1 seed in the West, and you know where Gonzaga is used to being in recent years.
What would the result be if those two teams that you saw play each other? If San Diego State plays Gonzaga, who wins the game?
I think you give the edge to San Diego State.
Wow.
And it would be a great game, but I do think you give the edge to San Diego State. I think San Diego State has a couple of factors. I mean, they have been built ever since Steve Fisher got there, and it's one of the best building jobs in college basketball history. But they have been built on the ability to get a stop, and that is in the DNA. And when that slipped, that's when the Aztecs slipped a little bit. And when they got that back, that's when they're at number 5. And the second piece is, and again, I know a lot of people don't stay up to watch San Diego State basketball, but Malachi Flynn, the transfer from Washington State, who's their point guard, has the I am going to win this game, whatever it takes, however it takes, and whomever it takes. I'm going to make sure that we get the win, and he has an edge, and it's the type of edge that you see it in games, but what you hear from everyone out there is not on a daily basis, on a minute-to-minute, hourly basis. You have a guy on the team who is demanding that everyone come along with him. Hey, this is where I'm going. You're coming with me, and he's made everyone better. And when winning teams, there's always something fun and something heartening and encouraging about it. And I think that may be the biggest piece of that team. They're fun, and you know we've spent a lot of time with the Aztecs. They're a first class program, and a lot of people are happy for their success. It was one more note on them. Being in Ann Arbor in December, where Brian Dutcher was an assistant coach, Steve Fisher, and all of that, the number of people in Ann Arbor, we're going back, decades now, the number of people there who said, wow, we're really happy that that Brian Dutcher is, winning in San Diego, and I thought that spoke some volumes.
And not a bad place to go visit.
No, not a bad place to visit at all.
Although, San Diego or Memphis, I know you're more excited about coming here.
I love coming to Memphis.
I know you
do. And I do. Now, I mean, sunsets over the Mississippi and sunsets over the Pacific are both fantastic. So that's all I'll say.
Wow.
Over water.
What a politically
Well done,
correct
Carter.
guy that Carter Blackburn is. That's why we love him.
The fish tacos in San Diego, I definitely give the edge. Barbecued ribs, definitely give the edge to Memphis. I have not tried any ribs in San Diego. That's just one I'm not going to do.
That's right.
If you come tomorrow and you and Pete deem it so, I will buy you ribs tomorrow night. How's that?
That's fantastic. Done. All right, great. Well, I'm calling Pete with my next phone call.
Okay, I'll call you later.
Thank you, Carter.
Work. Carter, thank you much.
Always a pleasure to visit with you, and I guess I'll see you very shortly.
You will.
You will.
Be safe.
All right, bye, Jen.
Be good. That is Carter Blackburn, who will be doing the game. I didn't realize that. Tigers and East Carolina. This portion of the show brought to you by the Spirit Shop. Weekend's over. You've got to stock up, and I got the place. It's real simple. All you got to do is head on over to Poplar in St. Nick. That's 4848 Poplar Avenue. It's that little log cabin. You've seen it a million times. You might have passed it and wondered what the heck could be in there. How much room could they have? Well, they are space engineers at the Spirit Shop. They got more product in there. You will be impressed. From all the premium brands to the bargain brands to the brands that are up and coming. Eddie Connor and his family since '69. They've been serving folks in East Memphis, really all of Memphis, because it's so conveniently and centered location, that they've been taking care of folks when it comes to spirits, to beer, accessories. Now they got cocktail in a can. They've even got, you know how you rim your glass? They got the rim. They got the stuff, the seasoning you use for rim. They got dips. Whatever you need for a party, it is at the Spirit Shop. So go check out the latest in bourbon or the greatest of new wines, or as I like to say, the up-and-comers. Just check it out at Poplar in St. Nick. Time to load up. You got to go to the Spirit Shop. Back to put a close, including crunch time, on this Monday edition of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 96.1 FM, or 87.7 FM.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Benswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 125 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Benswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Benswanger Glass in Midtown, located at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit their website, benswangerglass.com. Benswanger Glass.
Progressive presents Get Pumped. Inspiration to help you do insurance stuff.
Hey, are you just gonna stand there and let people not give you credit for being a good driver? You deserve discounts on car insurance, and that's what Snapshot from Progressive is for. So why aren't you signing up? You need music to get pumped? Hit it! Drum solo! Ow, that hurts my fingers.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California, North Carolina, or from all agents.
Hey folks, I'm Jarrett Carter. My family recently purchased East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quince and White Station, and we're excited to offer the best selection of Big Green Egg and Traeger grills. And then don't forget about our Benjamin Moore Paint Studio and the Garden Center for flowers. Save 60% with our new Duracell key fob replacement program. We have a master locksmith service as well as glass cutting and screen repair. The East Memphis Ace Hardware, located at Quince and White Station behind Three Little Pigs.
I'm a big fan of Town Village, and there is always something to do year-round. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $2,300. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, daily check-in, monthly coffee club, themed dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Come on, Muhammad, that we hit fame. We beat you with the deal, we get insane.
Man, this Monday has disappeared. Thank you for being with us. That's for sure. Final portion brought to you by Genesis of Olive Branch. That's Chris True's place. Not every dealership that has Hyundais is able to sell Genesis. That's the upper end, and they do at the Homer Skelton Genesis of Olive Branch station because they do the job the right way, and these cars are so great. I've got a G90. Brett likes to call it the limo. It's big. The G80 is a little smaller. G70 is like a James Bond car. These are luxury cars that have so much technology in them. They're just outstanding. And really, honestly, they're so good you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty on every car. And you can do different modes. You can do the sport mode. You got the flippers, too, if you really want to go fast. I mean, you can do anything with these cars. Seat warmers, seat air conditioners. You got the steering wheel warmer. You've got climate control for each section of the car. Radio control. It's just amazing. Go see for yourself. Get on Lamar. Get into Mississippi. Craft Road's the first exit. Turn left. Go see Chris True and all the gang. See the way car business should be done with the best car on the planet. That is Genesis of Olive Branch. It is time, ladies and gentlemen, for Crunch Time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is Geraldo. It is Crunch Time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that?
Take questions again for the student athletes at this time, please.
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
Is this thing working? It's obviously Crunch Time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Woo! Woo! Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. Dave, I just love it when the NASCAR people talk about the Ford car, the Toyota car, the whatever car. Like those at Daytona are like the Chevy car I'm getting ready to go out in the parking lot and get in. If that's the case, if their cars are just like ours, why didn't they just flip on the windshield wipers and keep racing yesterday?
Because the idea is to go as fast as you can.
Well, slow down for the bad weather like I do on 240 South.
No, that's not the idea is to go fast. Fans like fast.
Remember when NASCAR thought they had knocked off baseball as a sport?
I don't think they ever quite got to that
They
number.
said it.
But they were close.
They were close. That France family bunch.
I'm never.
Bunch of goobers.
I will say this. I've never seen a more
Roger Penske
meteoric rise. I've never seen a quick dissension as NASCAR
An old
was.
boogity guy. Who was the announcer? Darrell Waltrip.
Is that Darrell Waltrip? Yeah. I learned today J.B. Bickerstaff is standing by. Word is John Beilein won't see the second half of this NBA season. He and the Cavs are just not on the same page.
At 68, who jumps out and hires him when college basketball jobs
Somebody
open up?
should, because he is really good at what he does.
He is, but 68. Is that what you want?
I don't find that so old.
To be a head coach? To fight these riggers? To fight the recruiting?
Maybe.
To have to be calling 14 and 15-year-olds and going to all the camps?
If he isn't that, then he's going to be hired as a consultant by somebody. Hey, you know what? He got a 5-year deal. He's going to get paid for 4 more years. No matter what happens. It's hard to believe. The Cavs are 14-40. That's the second worst record in the NBA. Hard to believe Golden State's only won 12 games so far.
Could have done without. So far for me, and I'm not trying to. It just hadn't worked. The XFL, I'm holding it 0 minutes viewed. I love football. I love minor league baseball. I just can't watch minor league football or minor league basketball. I just can't do it. Baseball is my number one sport. College football probably is 1A. NFL would be 3. I get to see great football all fall, and I get to see the Grizzlies and the NBA at FedEx Forum. No interest in minor league football or minor league basketball.
I would have watched, but I was either flying or doing a game. But I will watch some.
What's your minutes watched?
What did you have?
Through the first 2 weekends, I've probably watched a good game and a quarter in total.
A game and a quarter?
Have you bet on it yet?
No, God, no.
Was you like your own money too much?
I do.
Was the football any good?
It's decent.
It's better. I think it's better
a little
than the
better.
Alliance.
It's a little bit better than the AAF.
I
mean, it's not a home run by any means.
I could have done without this coronavirus story. So far now, the LPGA, which was opening up in Asia, canceled. First 3 weeks of the season, canceled. The Tokyo Marathon, which normally has 38,000 participants, down to 200 elite runners. Wow.
And we're still worried of the impact on the Olympics. But the Olympics.
How would you like to have been on that cruise? Paid all that money to be on the cruise.
I'm never going on a cruise. That's why I'm never going on a cruise. You couldn't stick me on a boat with a bunch of strangers for anything. Keeping a close eye tonight on Kansas. It's Monday. It's Big Monday. Of course they're at home. It's a little-known league rule that Kansas plays every Monday night
They
at home.
didn't last Monday.
Nope. I guarantee you they did.
Nope.
They have to. 52 Mondays a year they play at home.
Texas played. I can't remember.
I don't
Baylor
believe it,
played somebody.
I don't believe it. Home against Iowa State tonight. Last place in the ACC, Old Roy's Tar Heels. Last place. Looking up at everybody. 3 league wins tonight. They're at Notre Dame. A must for the Irish to stay on any NCAA tournament-type bubble. And also keep an eye on the baseball scandal. It's not going away, just getting bigger.
Yeah, I agree with that. We got to thank David Cobb, Shelby Mast, Wayne Norman. That was fun visiting with him. And our friend who will be doing the game at FedEx Forum on Wednesday night from CBS, Carter Blackburn. We'll do this again tomorrow. For Drew and for Brett, I'm Dave. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night, everyone.
I'm here with Robert Cox, kitchen manager of the Rendezvous Restaurant. Tell us about those great ribs at the